everybody? Welcome to another Suplex City Chats. I'm, of course, your host with the most, or the Arizona Suplex Machine, Mr. Matty. We're here to talk some wrestling. If you did see our draft review, you pretty much know what we know about Raw and SmackDown, but there were two other shows that we got to talk about, so let's do it. And let's introduce the men that are here to join me on our trip. He is the best that ever is, the best that ever was, and the best that ever will be. I changed that so we don't get sued by WWE. It's Mr. JB3.
Yo, NXT, AEW. I like them both. Which one did I like better? I don't know yet.
I bet I do, but wait, we've already talked. So, and this man is if you are a fan of the Dark Order, you raise your right hand, but with this one, you raise the left hand because they are so evil. They are the Darker Order, Mr. Evil Dose.
What's up, everyone? Bad to see you. Very evil to see you. I'm coming from the Charm City Killers. We're going to talk about the Wednesday Night Wars, which really isn't a war anymore. I didn't like either show very much, so the hate is coming.
Yikes. But that's okay. This man, he is the bringer of pain. He is the bringer of the lecture. He is Mr. Paynemaker.
Oh, so much wrestling. So much wrestling. God damn.
He makes it sound like it's a bad thing.
No, I'm not. No, I'm exhausted. I'm not groaning out of frustration. I'm groaning out of exhaustion. Woo!
That's what she said.
Hey, I'm talking about my love life.
Or you mean the lack thereof?
Hey, just because I'm quarantined does not mean I still can't get some girls.
What you pay for is on your own time, brother. Wrong show for that.
Well,
Hey, don't be hating, Matty G. Don't be hating. Tell him, Ryan. Because every single girl is gonna take a ride on the Carmel Mountain.
Preach. Hey. It's been 7 months, man. 7 months. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna be all like I'm not gonna be like a monk. Be celibate. Jesus Christ, man. I'm not gonna buy a chat.
Pornhub.com. That should help a little bit. But
no.
Network edit.
Let's just move on. Let's move on before you get into the nasty realm.
And of course, it wouldn't be our trip through Suplex City without bringing the villain around.
3 minutes and 36 seconds in, and I'm already ready to leave this fucking stream. Yeah, let's talk about some wrestling.
Oh shit, gentlemen, the villain is on to something tonight. So everybody hit the fucking deck. So, like I said, we already discussed Monday night, so we're gonna end Sunday and Thursday. So we're gonna just jump right into it. Wednesday, and we're gonna go stick with WWE, and we're gonna talk about the Undisputed Era taking on Danny Burch and Oney Larkin. I really don't know why this happened. Okay, kind of gave Kyle O'Reilly his face turned some more, but that's pretty much all I really care to say about it. JB3, talk to us about some tag team wrestling.
About some tag team wrestling?
Some tag team wrestling.
Hey, what show are we doing first?
NXT. This is
We're on the first match, bro. First match.
Yeah, no shit, right? Here we go. Oney Larkin.
The first match of NXT.
Undisputed Era against Lorcan and Burch.
Yep.
Number one contenders match.
I didn't watch that match.
Nice.
Well,
I don't understand. I watched NXT, but I don't remember this match.
That should tell you a lot about it. That should tell you a lot about it. There wasn't a whole lot here. Paynemaker, you want to talk about this?
I'm on the same sentiments of GB3. There wasn't a lot to talk here, but to me, it still didn't. I mean, look, Lorcan and Birch have fought in the Undisputed Era on so many different occasions. It felt kind of obvious to me that Undisputed was going to come out on top, but it didn't mean you were going to get like a good maybe 10, 12-minute match throughout this. I mean, no matter how many times Birch and Lorcan fight, I always see these guys as great workers, great workhorses. Whoever they're paired up against, they can make even enhancement talent look very good, or green tag teams look good. So sure, we weren't going to get a classic 20, 25 minute out of this team, but it got the job done, pretty much solidifying that Breezango. They're not just going to hold the championships and be unchallenged after their feud with Legado del Fantasma. And at the same time, if Cole also, I don't know about Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, even though it may have solidified him as a face, but at the same time, he still came off very heelish, as if he might usurp Adam Cole and become the new leader of Undisputed Era. I mean, I was getting those vibes off of his opening speech, though.
Bro, this isn't Bullet Club. He ain't gonna fucking take out Adam Cole like they did to him over in Ring of Honor. Let's be real.
This NXT. Triple H is the king of betraying his best friends. Betraying best friends is pretty much their bread and butter of storylines. So,
or that tells you why it's not gonna happen. All right, Villain, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was a good opener. I mean, I don't understand why Kyle O'Reilly wasn't with his partner Bobby Fish in the match, since they're, a tag team. He's not injured. He already lost, the last match where he was fighting for the title. So, other than that, yeah, Burke, I've said it for over a year since I've seen those guys. Lorcan and Burke, they're good workers. They're good in the ring. They're missing something. They just don't have that star quality, so they're always gonna just kind of be there. But yeah, it was a match.
I like that answer. It was a match. Dose, wrap us up. We can move on.
Okay. Well, first of all, nobody talked about Breezango was scouting this match from some pedestal like they were watching the Westminster Dog Show, which was sort of hysterical. I don't know if it was on purpose because their gimmick is sort of like the fashion icons, or it's just that's where they put them. But that was sort of funny. The match itself, I mean, it started with the promo that they're still investigating what happened to Adam Cole, and it's not over yet. But if you watch the body language, it was definitely Strong and Fish sort of with him, but sort of without him. Kyle O'Reilly is obviously a solo, not a solo star, but a singles star now. You're not sure if he's trying to take over, or if he's going to be a face and Cole's going to be a face, or if Strong and Fish are going to go their own way. But I mean, it certainly, I mean, nobody mentioned it on the air, but the Villain just mentioned it. Fish and O'Reilly they were Red Dragon. I mean, they've been tagging together for forever. So, it's curious that O'Reilly, I'm sorry, that Strong is tagging with Fish. Why Lorcan and Birch are in a number one contenders match, I can't remember the last time they won a match. I know there's not that many tag teams on NXT, but still, you could find someone who won a match. Maybe bring in those Indian fellas, get them out of the doghouse for a match. Get Malcolm Bivens on the screen. He's always good. But the match itself was a match. It was fine. It was unremarkable. The Undisputed Era went over, so there's their plans are still at least titularly to take over the joint again, which is fine for now.
All right, then let's move on. Jake Atlas and the Adonis took on each other. Apparently, I don't remember this match, so I'm just going to pass it over to the Villain. He can talk about it, and y'all can fill me in.
Yeah, it's two relatively new guys. I'm not really familiar with Adonis a lot. So yeah, it was just even Jake. I'm not too familiar with his work in NXT. I know he's had some backstage stuff going on. I think the last time I seen him in a match was when didn't he get his ass whooped by Ciampa? So Other than that, it was just a filler match to me. I don't know where this goes. But yeah, to me, it was nothing. It was just nothing match.
All right, Dels, how did you feel about this?
I'm confused about Jake Atlas because going back to his feud, I think it was with Spud. I'm sorry, Drake Maverick is his name now. They were sort of teasing that he was sort of turning heel, but he never quite does. Then he sort of got killed by Ciampa. Then he had a more competitive match with Ciampa, but lost and then was getting killed out in the parking lot, and Kyle O'Reilly saved him. And all through the match, they were talking about his new aggressive attitude, and he has this new, haircut, sort of like the Dexter Loomis version, as opposed to, having the high school side part. But I mean, the story of this match was the end when Legado de Fantasma came out to try to interfere. They did distract Ashante Adonis. Atlas rolled him up for the win. And then the Legado guys, they started beating on Adonis, but Jake Atlas took them out, and he was fighting with Adonis. Then Santos Escobar came out, looked at his guys, basically said, let's get him, 3-on-2. They started walking there, and Isaiah Swerve Scott ran in, making it 3-on-3. He also brought in 3 chairs, so they had equalizers, even though it was equal sides at that point. But obviously we're going to have a 6-man tag team match next week or soon. But that was the story. I guess the feud between Swerve and Escobar continues. And Jake Atlas's aggressive heel turn will have to wait for another month or 2.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it sounds like. All right, Paynemaker, go ahead.
Honestly, Joe's had the same thoughts I had. Atlas' story has been very confusing. First, he was like cocky and arrogant during the cruiserweight tournament, or the cruiserweight, whatever that was. Then he becomes pretty much a white meat babyface, allying with Spud against El Gato del Fantasma. Then he gets murdered by Ciampa, pretty much as a chum to a great white shark. Then he fights back, and now all of a sudden he's got an aggressive attitude after getting jumped in the parking lot. I'm like, there was no context for me to follow here to explain why. And I didn't see much in this match to show that he had an aggressive side. Like, maybe he was just more relentless and grounding Adonis from like doing high risk moves. I mean, there was nothing here that told me anything of his new attitude, except from what the commentators were saying. Like he's being more aggressive. He's trying to be more of an aggressive fighter. I just couldn't see that. Even though this was a good competitive match, I felt the more heelish was Adonis, though, because he was doing all the trash talking at him whenever Jake Atlas was down, or whenever they were like face to face. So to be honest, 2 very contrasting stories here from the ring and the commentators. And it didn't surprise. I was kind of surprised that Jake won, using pretty much he won the match. According to one of my favorite YouTubers, by using the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the roll up. But then of course the aftermath. Yeah, it played out. El Gato wanted vengeance against Adonis. If Jake really was being more heelish, he would not have helped him out, but instead he did. And then comes out Swerve with the chairs, and pretty much setting up a 6-man between these teams, either at Halloween Havoc or next week.
Alrighty, JB3, close us out, brother.
I don't have too much to say except pretty much what Dylan said. I thought it was a filler match. Jake Atlas, like you said, it's hard to tell what he's done, because all he's really done is lose and show that he has a cool finisher that you have to be in very specific circumstance to hit. But right. He's there. There'll be growth, I'm hoping. But as far as the match goes, filler match. As far as the story that they're all telling, the 6-man, and then the whole cruiserweight thing, yeah, Dosh had it nailed it. It's just it's there. They're doing what they got to do. I can't hate on it, but I'm not really that excited for it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, then let's move on to Gargano and Austin Theory. This was an interesting match. We've talked about it before, looking good in defeat. We've seen it with Jericho putting over guys and so forth. And this is kind of what that felt like to me. Obviously, we all knew Gargano was going to get the win in the end because they're still really pushing the Gargano family, which is, you know what, that's fine. But Austin Theory looked pretty damn good here, in my opinion. He gave as good as he got, and he sells really well. My theory is maybe after Andrade gets healed, the rumor has it that he's going back to NXT. We could see the two of them pair up again. Maybe they'll pair up with Legado del Fantasma, and they can have this whole kind of just savage faction to go against the UE, and that'll be a way to turn them all face. Screw it. Paynemaker, what'd you think?
My head. So this one was eating something. Okay.
Well, excuse the shit out of me.
It's live TV, bro. Live TV.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I enjoyed this match with Gargano and Theory. I said to you guys earlier with Candice last week when it was teased that Indy Hartwell wanted to become an ally to Candice, and Johnny was pretty much being the one who was in for it. And also at the same time, every time commentators and even everyone kept going like the Gargano way. To me, it felt sooner or later the Gargano way was either going to be more of a stable, or it was just going to be Candice and Johnny. They have their own underlings where they're trying to be, it was going to be like a Mr. Miyagi and Daniel's son or Julie situation, to where they're the masters and they got their own apprentices there. Because it feels to me that if they're going to be heels or remain heels, they're going to need to do more heelish tactics. So having somebody under their wing or a lackey works. I mean, sure, it can give some very Seth Rollins vibes, but at this point, I think Gargano and Candice can make it work. But other than that, the match itself was great. I liked Gargano was doing his best, like really highlighting Austin Theory as a very explosive and energetic wrestler, but at the same time, still showing his veteran and his savvy of being in NXT around the ring. And I did like at the end how he shows respect, because every time Austin loses a match, the camera always likes to pan on him, sulking. But this time, in his loss, Gargano was kind of like, you know what? You did good. So being almost like in a swarm sounds like, good job. Good job. I mean, that's how that came up.
Okay, Villain, what'd you think of Gargano and Theory going at it?
I thought it was a good match. It was weird because ain't they both heels? Like, you don't really see too many heel versus heel match. But because when he was on Raw, he was a heel with Seth Rollins. I don't know if he turned face already. I mean, I guess they kind of were hinted at it with Priest, but I don't know if Priest is a full heel. But yeah, the match was good. Austin Theory's a young guy, really young. He looks good. Gargano's a ring general, so they had a great match. I give it 2 thumbs up. Good storytelling in the ring.
Yeah, that's what's up. JB3, what'd you think?
So, yeah, I thought it also was a really, really good match. Like you said, ring general. Johnny's gonna have a good match. Austin Theory played his part well. He's been playing his part well for a while. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I still don't know what they can do with him. He's been tested as, on Raw as a part of groups. I don't think he really necessarily did a bad job at any of them. So there's no telling. He seems pretty balanced. Right now, he's just, gonna have matches. Like you said, there's a lot of things happening, and it's weird. Like heel versus heel, there's weird things happening. But it was a good match. It was a good chance to show off his skills. And that's one thing Johnny Gargano does. He gives back. He lets people get a lot of their shit in. So that's always really, really good.
Austin Theory's yoked. Like, I didn't realize how physically strong he looks, like he could be the ultimate face. They could really have him turn and go face, just pure, just straight baby face, and I think it would work just by the way he looks. But Dust, what did you think?
Well, picking up on the point that you just made, take a picture or a screenshot of Austin Theory and take a picture of John Cena at 23, and you'll see what they see in him, because they could be brothers at that point. Moving on. As I said in the beginning of the show, I didn't really like either show. I liked NXT less. I didn't like this show at all. And if our vast audience recalls the last 2 weeks, I wasn't so thrilled with the NXT shows themselves, but I was liking the flow of the shows, how they were sort of mixing up segments and interviews and backstage segments with matches and sort of mixing it up a little bit to make a more digestible show, to be a better, maybe a more competitive product with AEW. Well, this week there was almost none of that. It was just wrestling, which maybe is, what people tuned in for NXT for originally. But I wasn't happy that I didn't like the show, and they sort of abandoned that mixed up format some. None of that is really about this match, though. Our audience knows I don't care about Johnny Gargano. I don't care about Johnny Gargano. I don't want to see the Gargano family pushed. I don't want to see him and Candice having title matches 2 weeks after they already lost title matches to the same people. This is the kind of crappy booking we get on the main roster and drives us crazy. That Dolph Ziggler loses a match and then Monday he has a rematch after a pay-per-view. It's and then somehow he's got another one the next pay-per-view. It's the same crap, and NXT was not in that trap. They advance things, so it's almost like it's pointless. Or there has to be our Gargano family. Both of them have to win the titles, which is a story. I don't know that I want to see Damian Priest lose the title, but if it's because Austin Theory joins Gargano and he's building a little family, or he just has the one disciple or acolyte or flunky, whatever you want, that's fine. I can get with that. I mean, because Gargano is small, him having a henchman makes sense to me. So that's all right, but it almost doesn't make sense to do these things unless they're going to be the power couple with belts around their waists. So it's almost like they have to win, and if they don't, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, I have to ask you a question then.
Wait, let me just finish one thing, and then I'm open to any questions, because a lot of people were saying that Austin Theory looked good in Loss, and this is true. He did look good in Loss, but this is about the fourth match in a row where he's looked good in Loss, where somebody showed him respect. I mean, Adam Cole showed him a lot of respect. There's only so many times that someone gives you the rub where it's going to rub off well on you, and then there's a certain point in time when you become Jim Powers. And I think right now he's Jim Powers or Roma before Power and Glory. That was my last point. So whatever the question is, I'm happy to try and answer it.
Okay. You say that they have to win the belt. It looks like WWE is looking at a worst case scenario sort of thing with Finn Balor. Do you think that's where they start this? Instead of giving him the mid-card belt, they go ahead and strap the main belt on him and his wife.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, would that fit, in your opinion, the storyline a little better, opposed to him basically just getting thrown as a mid-card guy?
Well, I don't think if it's the storyline better, because that's not how they've set it up. It would make sense if they did something to change that, but the only thing they could do to change that would be to injure, in storyline Priest. But how do you take Priest out of any lineup card now when he's one of your biggest attractions? So no, I don't think it makes sense because of what they've done. I think it would have made sense if they tried to build that story and decided to do a number one contenders match or a tournament or something, but they clearly don't want to strip Finn of the title. But I think what they're setting up is something with O'Reilly and maybe Cole, and I still don't think that Ciampa's been ruled out. The other wild card is that I do think that they're hoping Killer Cross can come back soon. Him and Scarlett have been tweeting a lot more recently, and more aggressively, I guess is the phraseology I'd use for it. So I don't think they have decided what they're doing with the top title yet. So I don't really think that's going to be in the story yet, because I don't think they've started really writing that chapter.
That's fair enough. I'll give you that. All right, guys. Next up on the match, in my opinion, was the best match of the night, and I think it ended the right way. Candice LeRae took out Shotzi Blackheart to become #1 contender to the NXT Championship, and they're going to throw down at Halloween Havoc. Shotzi Blackheart's tank being kind of a Halloween-style tank, I actually really dug. The match itself was great. It really set Candice LeRae as a heel, in my opinion. Again, she took those William Regal style brass knucks and clocked her with it, and down she went. Villain, what did you think of the two women going at it?
I mean, for a #1 contender match, it didn't make no sense. I don't understand it, because last week we just had a 4-women's match, which all 4 of those women, they're there for a reason, and that's to fight for the title. So I don't understand how Candice LeRae and Shanti get a #1 contenders match. But yeah, the match was good. Both women could go. To go on Evil Dose and everybody else's point about they need to be dual champions. Like, I agree to the most part, but y'all forgetting Johnny could win the Cruiserweight Championship and his wife could win the NXT title and they'll still be champions, Then he could be clowned while his wife is being praised. Simple fix. You got to think outside the box. I don't know what NXT is doing. They changed since they got on live TV, and that's the pressure of going up against a juggernaut like AEW. And that's why we're getting stuff like this now, Before it seemed like they were running a lot more smoother and, that they had cohesive storylines. I can understand injuries, but NXT always had the next man up. They always had guys there and girls or gals to be the next man up. And it just seems like Kova and the injuries are just kind of like really hampering them now. And then losing people to the main roster is not going to help them. So, yeah, the match was good. Like Candice, I'm liking her more and more in the ring. I'm liking her aggressive style. I'm liking her dirty tactics, And Shanti, I'm really digging what she's doing so far. But, for her to get a #1 contenders match in, 2 weeks from now, I guess, or 1 week, whatever the hell it's going to be. I'm kind of like, didn't she just lose the title at the pay-per-view? Like, she had a title match and she lost. So, I don't know. It's whatever. I wouldn't say it was the match of the night, but yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, go ahead, Paynemaker, lay it on him.
I agree with both Dose and Villain. The fact that Candice and Johnny, who have lost at a TakeOver, are now immediately getting shots again. But let's not forget, guys, they immediately promoted Halloween Havoc during TakeOver. So it felt obvious to me they were going to get rematches. It just depended how they were going to execute that. So with Candice having to earn a #1 contendership compared to Johnny, who looked like he's practically given one, I think Candice's direction was handled much better. The fact that she actually had to fight to fight Io again. And of course, yeah, we can definitely say because of COVID, because there's not many other contenders, but at the same time, we just had a returning Tony and Ember Moon show up. They're still holding off Rhea with her feud with Raquel. And I don't think they're willing to use Dakota again. So it did seem like Shotzi and Candice were their two logical choices in their minds. But this match, though, itself, I did definitely enjoy this. Yeah, Shotzi just keeps impressing me every time she's given like this big platform. First in her match, when she had that feud against Dakota, her match against her championship match against Io, and even now against Candice. Like I believe there is a plan for Shotzi. I mean, the fact she's made a host for Halloween Havoc, they are holding her somewhere down the line, maybe at the next TakeOver, she challenges for the championship. That's what I'm hoping for. And then this match itself, I mean, talking about Johnny as a ring general, I mean, Candice also shows she's also a ring general in her own way too. And I do look forward to maybe another highly competitive bout between her and Io.
Well, I think going into something we'll talk about later, it kind of plays into the story. But JB3, what are you feeling?
Yeah, it was all covered very, very well. I agree a lot with what they all said. That was a great match. Nice touch with the Nux. I think that it shows they're protecting Shotzi. She just had a star-making performance, and now she lost a match. It's a good thing she lost in such a fashion where, she's protected. And then obviously at the end she gets a revenge. But yeah, it was a match. Candace, it's weird because she's a great wrestler, but for some reason she never gets a title, and she never seems to me like, it doesn't really bother me that she hasn't been a champion, but I still think she's pretty good. It'd be a good match. Yeah, I mean, Io is amazing, so I'm looking forward to seeing Shotzi and Io again, but Candice to do, I don't know if I want them. I don't want them to win, and I don't think they'll win. It's kind of weird because they might pull a swerve and have them win, but if they do that, I don't know. What do they? I don't know. It's all weird. But yeah, the match itself, I don't think there'll ever be a time where Shotzi and Candice don't have a good match.
Oh, come on now. You don't see the Omni Footwear coming back to take it away from Candice LeRae? No, we're not going there. We're not going there. We're not going there. We're not going there. Dos, go ahead. Bad joke. Bad joke.
I don't want to repeat too much of what other people have said or I've said. Again, don't know why she got a number one contenders match 1 week out of losing a title match. Doesn't make any sense in storyline. And you pretty much knew Shotzi wasn't going to win because she's hosting Halloween Havoc. So you took the surprise away there. That said, I liked the Indy Hartwell involvement. That was well executed. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know much about Indy Hartwell, but it's good to see someone else involved in something. And I like factions and I like hench people, so that was okay. I agree the match was good. But I can't get beyond the issue, so I was just sort of waiting for it to end. The end had a reward, but I'm not going to say good things about it just because the match was good. They're professional wrestlers; they should be professional. The story makes no sense to me. So, and well, you already heard my thoughts about where I think it's going to go with the Gargano story, so there's no need to repeat it. Dose out on this one.
Alrighty, let's move on. Toni Storm made her return to the ring. She made a big splash against the Robert Stone brand and Alea. She hit her with a Storm Zero, and that was that. This was, in my opinion, a glorified squash match. Paynemaker, I know you disagree with me, so lay it out there.
Well, I slightly disagree on the fact it's seen as a squash match because Alea... We've seen Alea in squash matches. This is more of a competitive squash match where she at least got a couple of hits, where she at least got a couple of licks in or maybe some big moves. But other than that, yeah, I'm a big fan of Toni Storm. Loved her underground. I mean, of course, loved seeing her when I saw her in matches on Progress or when she showed up on any other independent wrestling circuits, and also when she had matches in Japan. So I know she is 100% a solid wrestler, without a doubt. And of course, her star-making performance in the Mae Young Classic, her run in the NXT UK. So I'm so glad that she's going to be officially running in NXT and not in NXT UK, because I do see her as like another pillar, like a strong pillar in NXT in the women's division. And of course, in this match, it was pretty much just her getting that rust out because she hadn't been wrestling in a while. And so, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, I'm glad Toni Storm's back. I can't wait to see her. I like her music compared to her old one she had in NXT UK. I think this one's a little better if it's the rock star personality and mentality that she gives off.
All righty, Bellin, what'd you think? After you finish your drink, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta agree, man. Toni Storm came out looking like a star. Entrance was rocking. If that was a live crowd, that shit would have popped so big time. Not just the 15 people they got around the arena. But yeah, man, she came out looking like a star, man. And that's wrestling 101 if you want to build somebody up. And I like her, just like Ryan said. I watched her, career in the UK and stuff like that. So she's good, man. She's got a very unique look. That's the good thing about the NXT women. They all have unique looks. So they all kind of stand out. And Aaliyah, she's relatively young, so she's got to take the role of pin eater for now. And when she gets better in the ring and has some more years under her belt, then maybe she'll be a NXT champion or Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion in the future. But yeah, this was what they needed to do to get Toni Storm, back in people's minds, in the graces, to be like, okay, this is somebody we got to look out for. So they did their job. I think it was done correctly.
I'll understand that. I appreciate that. Dos, what do you think?
I mean, there's not much to add to the match. She came out, she looked strong, she got the job done. I mean, so I'm going to look at the other side of things, and the Robert Stone brand continues to be a joke, and I don't see how they're ever not a joke. I don't know if they shouldn't be anything other than a joke. I'm just not really a big fan of you bring in a manager, and all they do is foul. And if you're going to be the Jimmy Hart type of manager who takes the bumps and is always being chased around and whatever, your talent has to at least have success. You paying the price, has to be worth it, and it never is. So this whole thing doesn't make sense to me. But that wasn't really the story. But sort of the way Paynemaker feels about Toni Storm, I may feel the same way about Aaliyah. But anyway, it was fine, quick. There was also an Ember Moon promo, which was not noteworthy. Yeah. Again, it was noteworthy in being unnoteworthy for the second week in a row.
That's why I didn't mention it, because I actually forgot about it. JB3, what'd you feel? Okay. Okay, then. We'll move on. Imperium took on Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. Killian Dane and Drake Maverick are still playing the odd couple. It was still a good match. Imperium's just Imperium. And I mean, Drake Maverick looked good, but Imperium got the win. No surprising there. Dallas, what did you think?
I am really just so impressed with how the Young Bucks are so dedicated to their craft that they appear on Dynamite and take that 5-hour drive to Orlando just to do the job for Killian Dane. That was just amazing. They changed their voices and everything. It was, they sound like they were from Brooklyn or something. That was really cool. And then Killian Dane says, "No one hits you but me." That was the best part of the entire match. I have to be honest with you. Well, I've said all along, I don't like Spud. I don't like Killian Dane. I don't like them together. I know that my reputation is liking the big wrestler guys, and I do, but I don't like the big wrestler guys who look like the fat biker that can be at any bar in town. I'll take a Bronson Reed or Damian Priest or Keith Lee or Killer Cross. I mean, I want them to look like someone. And if they're going to be a big fat guy, I want them to look like Tugboat. I want them to be like 450 pounds and 6'4", big fat guy. I don't want just a guy that's a little bit bigger and a little bit fatter than me. So didn't like it, but mad respect to the Bucks. Go Bucks.
You have not seen Killian Dane when he was on the British wrestling circuit before he came to NXT. He was much thicker than what he looks now.
Well, now is what we're reviewing.
Well, Ryan, talk about him then.
I mean, look, you have your certain likes of wrestlers, and I can't change your mind on that. Just like you can't constantly change my mind on why I love Johnny Gargano and storytelling aspects in wrestling. It's like we're always going to constantly clash, and that's okay. This match,
I'm taking hypnosis classes. Look into my finger.
Yeah. No, it's constant sweat. Now, to me, the right team won with Imperium winning because it just plays into the constant storytelling angle they're doing with Drake being the apparently, which is weird because Drake, he was a general manager Then he was a small ass manager to AOP, and now they've reduced him to a naive, aloof, clueless wrestler. To why Killian Dane doesn't want to tag with him. It's just more of he's turned into like the happy-go-lucky, like a stupid freaking rom-com. It's like, oh, I see magic here. No, there's no magic. Like that's their whole fandom. I mean, the only thing that's different is that at the end, when Spud does get bullied, Killian Dane pretty much just goes. It's pretty much it's kind of like it's like an I can't have you if I can't have you, no one situation. It's like no one hits you but me situation. I'm like, that's even worse. It's like, so is NXT just putting over abusive relationships? Because that was completely stupid. If it was just more of Damon says, look, I may find you annoying, but no one should, if like they could have changed that. I mean, to make Killian Dane look like someone who's not an abusive asshole. Instead, it's just no one hit you but me situation. Then what the hell was this whole match happening where Drake gets his ass beat by Eichner and Fabian to where he's the one who takes the pin? Like, that's the whole line of Dane, the reason why he's in this tag team. Then, to be honest, Dane should have been the one to have gone out of his way to make sure Drake does not get hit by anybody but him.
Yeah, don't tag him in.
Flawed logic.
We'll talk about somebody not wanting to get hit and letting the other person do that in a little bit. Villain, what do you think of this?
If this was on an indie show, I think it would have been great. Like if you paid, your hard-earned money to go to indie show, this would have been okay. I think it should have been the first match to open the show, and I think they should have had a little more comedy into it. If you're gonna go this odd couple routine, then they should have had. And I understand maybe they didn't do a lot of comedy because there's nobody there to do like the laugh. Like the live audience is not there, so they can't really chuckle or laugh or clap. But I think they should have had fun with this, because Spud, he's a great actor. He's been from his upcomings from TNA to WWE, back and forth, from different roles he had. He's good, he's good with facial expressions. So I think they could have did something a little more funner, a little more upbeat, to really get the show rolling, and yeah, Imperium won, which, don't know why they weren't in the number one contenders match since they were the champions before Breezango. So that's logic is not there in any in the WWE universe. I guess logic just couldn't fit in, with with all the stuff they have there. So yeah, it was what it was. Yeah, it was what it was.
All right, JB3, talk about it.
It was what it was. They couldn't really say much more about it.
I mean, at least it wasn't this.
No, it was not. To me, it wasn't trash. I actually really do like it. I like the odd couple. I do agree with the comedy line, but Drake Maverick is just winning me over with his dance, man. The dance and the song and like the energy that he's putting into this tag team. And then Killian is just he's slowly growing on him. And then when he was like, nobody hits you but me, and just like last week, he grabbed him and carried him in the back. Like it's gonna end up. I hope it's gonna slowly end up being a really good tag. I mean, eventually a title reign, but not yet. I'm talking, like I was saying before the stream hit. It kind of reminds me of like a Booker T Gold Dust kind of vibe. Like they don't belong together, but they are. They're gonna make the best of it, and it's gonna be a slow story over time. I don't know what's gonna happen. I guess you know how that goes, but right now I'm digging it. I do think, though, I agree with Villain. I think that they could throw a little more comedy because I think that's what it's for anyway. Like that's kind of talking about that. Like some parts of the show you need, serious wrestling. Sometimes you need good comedy. Santino was perfect at that. Drake Maverick is really, really perfect at that too. He's to play the comedy character. He can do so many things, but he could do comedy. And to take someone like Killian Dane and the way that he does comedy, or the way comedy does him, if you want to put it that way, that can remind you of someone like Kane, when he got comedic, or any of those other big guys when they get comedic, it doesn't seem like it works, but then it ends up working. So I think give it more time, but as of right now, I'm digging it. And as far as Imperium goes, I mean, I was assuming they were going back to NXT UK. I don't know what's happening with that. So I don't know.
Because
Travel
Walter
issues, my
did
friend.
tag. Walter actually had a tag match on NXT UK this week. Just pointing that out there. So now talk about our main event. We had the North American champion Damian Priest taking on Dexter Lumis. I like the fact that Damian Priest had to change his style. Instead of the whole high risk, high bang sort of thing like he does, he kind of had to move down into like the ground and pound kind of hard hitting wrestling like Dexter Lumis does. You know me, if you've watched the show, or you guys, you know that Damian Priest is becoming my kind of guy. He's hard hitting, he's big, he's charismatic as hell. I enjoyed the match. I don't like the way it ended. Obviously, that was bullshit. But it is what it is. Jeez, villain, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I agree with you with the ending. Sometimes I guess maybe they did that to maybe protect Dexter Lumis, which I think Dexter Lumis is a great looking character. That dude's buff. He looks unique. With the mustache, the haircut, the glove, tatted up, the pants. I just don't know when it's going to be his turn because he's been wrestling for years, man. Like he's been playing this gimmick for like fucking 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even longer than that. So I think that maybe they should have had somebody else in the match, but I guess they wanted to have like a name, to fight Priest. And yeah, Priest changing it up. I thought it was hard hitting. It was a good match, a good main event. You got to do what you got to do. You don't have a champion. You don't really have too many other people there, and that's the problem I always say with NXT when I go back. I'm beating the same drum because it's true. It's like 2 hours when you're trying to compete with another company that's on fire. 2 hours is not enough when you don't have nothing else, and that's why AEW, I think more people kind of gravitate towards them because you have the BT, you have the you have the Dark, and then you got Dynamite, and when you only have 2 hours to try to fit all these people in, and the storylines right now ain't really captivating because I think they're just lost right now. Champion's out, you don't know what's gonna happen with him. Your last champion got injured, so now it's like trying to figure out the storylines, and we got to give them the benefit of the doubt, I guess, if people are going to keep watching, and hopefully they get in the right direction, and start getting these storylines to where we actually have invested interest in them. So yeah, the match is good. They're both good wrestlers. I ain't gonna hate on them, but yeah, no, that's it.
All right, JB3, talk to me.
I've just got a few things to say about it. First off, it did kind of make sense that he got the title shot just because he earned it. When he earned his way into the ladder match and got injured. So they were probably just like giving him his due, which whatever, that's fair. And I think the match, I agree with everything Villain said about the character. The match and the style. I'm down for the style change only on certain matches. I think Priest is showing some adaptability with his skills in the ring. But I'm really, really pissed off about one thing about this match. And sometimes it happens, and sometimes they can get away with it, but sometimes you shouldn't get away, especially in this case. So they were obviously telling a story in the match where, Dexter Lumis's ankle was getting targeted because of his injury that he had. So Priest was doing things like ankle locks and other sorts of things targeting the ankle. And then there was a spot where Dexter Lumis nipped up and immediately bounced into a leg drop. Now, it was impressive. It was all kinds of impressive. But when you're selling your ankle, being jacked, you should not be able to kip up and hop straight into a big, amazing leg drop with like a turn or whatever and everything that he did. I just think that really that happens too much where you're trying to sell a body part, but then you like springboard off of that body. Like it's maybe everyone won't notice that. I don't know if maybe I'm being, but I guess it's not logical to me when that kind of stuff happens, and it's stuck out to me hard. I was when it happened, I was like kind of mad about it. I liked it, and I was like, you're supposed to have a fucked up ankle.
I could see that. All right, Paynemaker, talk to us.
To be honest, I mean, not much I can say. I mean, you guys covered a lot. I mean, the character, I mean, it did feel weird that Dexter Lumis was given an opportunity to fight him for the North American Championship because, to be honest, he was out of TV for a while, then he comes back, and then all he did was pretty much just like stare at Kevin. Maybe had one match or so. I mean, he's a great character without a doubt. I mean, the fact that the dude can easily slide into a damn ring with his physique, doing that and be able to do it like he has like scary agility. Like even during his during his prime before he got injured, how the camera works so well with him when he slides in the ring to give that anaconda vice grip was fantastic. But then, of course, when I watched this a couple hours ago, I realized it did work because Lumis and Priest, they're sort of hosses in their own way, where Priest, he's a very tall, overreaching hoss, and with Lumis, he's pretty much the the muscle-bound hoss that you expect that Vince McMahon would love. But the fact that both these two men are very agile, that they're also they have like long careers in the ring. So I was expecting like a very good striking, but also very I don't know, kind of like a back and forth match where Damon Priest would be using striking distance to keep Dexter Lumis at bay, but then Lumis would use his agility in order to pretty much try to close the distance or so. I mean, I don't know if I got to see that much of it because it was a short match, but the small little pieces I got, I enjoyed. And even I didn't mind Cameron Grimes like interfering, you know. It just ultimately shows that Cameron Grimes, even though he's a small ass dude, they're treating this guy as if he's like a badass heel. All he has to do is that freaking like high double stomp, and apparently it literally takes the breath out of you. So they do got plans for that guy, 100%.
All right, Dose. Talk about this, and we'll wrap up NXT.
All right, on the character point that a couple folks talked about. I don't really think it matters that you played the same character before because I think it's like Orange Cassidy. Almost nobody saw it. People didn't watch Impact. So it's new to most people. So I don't think it's an old character. And it works. He plays it perfectly. And I agree when he goes into the ring, it's almost like a moonwalk. It's like he's a snake that slithers in there. It's like a moon crawl, but he's not even, it's just knuckle crawling. It's sort of amazing. I do agree that the matchup seemed a little bit rushed. They explained why he was getting the match, and we all know what's been going on with the injuries, so it made sense from that standpoint. You are very rarely going to hear these next words from me, so everyone listen up. Listener, listen up. This match needed to be longer. I watched this on DVR afterwards, so I was very attuned to the time. It was 9:47 Eastern when the introduction started.
Oh shit.
After they both came in with their introductions and their poses and their music, it was 9:51. So you knew already it was going to be maximum a 9-minute match. So you already knew that there wasn't going to be a title change there because the Priest isn't going out like that. He's got no big rival who's going to come knock him out. So you knew that wasn't happening. And there was a commercial break during the match, so you double knew it wasn't going to happen. So and the match started slow, and then it got good. I mean, it had the normal arc of a match, except then Cameron Grimes came in and did his thing, and or ugly Jimmy Garvin came in and did his thing. The Office definitely likes him, but I don't know that they have plans for anything more than that good hand that's going to lose every feud, but will have a job for the next 12 years. He may be that Iron Mike Sharp type guy for this era, which is a very good career. Just modern wrestling fans don't feel that way unless people collect titles. But I think they'll give him titles every now and then or hereafter, or put him in a mismatch tag team or whatnot. In any event, this match went too quickly. This would have been a perfect matchup for Halloween Havoc, and it probably will be a rematch because of the chicanery at the end. But these two guys should go at Halloween Havoc, and I wouldn't mind seeing a title change then, because Loomis, I mean, what goes better with Halloween than Dr. Loomis? I know it's Dexter Loomis, but still. In any event, I thought this match would have benefited from another 7 to 10 minutes, and it was impossible because there was only 9 minutes left in airtime. I think they went like 2 minutes overtime, but still, nothing came of that. And anyway, again, didn't like the show, didn't like the ending. I would like to see these guys match up again in a proper match without such an obvious time issue.
All right. And then everybody kind of goes their own ways, and Damian Priest starts heading up the ramp, and then all of a sudden you see the ultimate flying chair. Who'd have known Sabu has joined NXT? Oh, if you get that joke, you get extra points. And then the power couple that we talked about came back out, and followed by Mr. William Regal, who points to the board and basically says Shotzi Blackheart's getting her revenge. And up comes the wheel. To quote her exactly, or from previous, she says that Candice LeRae and Gargano and Priest will be would fall under the contest of spin the wheel, make the deal rules. Which, if you know, that's a throwback to Halloween Havoc. I kind of like the idea. I wish the whole fucking show would be like that, but you know, you can't get what you get.
Can I make one point?
Make your point.
It's not about that. I have nothing to add to that. I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
The part of this show that I did enjoy was the segment with Zia Lee trying to convince William Regal to get a match. Not because there's anything spectacular about that in exchange, but the guy who was, I guess he was supposed to be her interpreter, but it was clear that he was like supposed to be a representative of the Chinese government watching her. Sort of how when Yao Ming first came to the NBA, they, looking like if she doesn't get success, she's going to go to a Uyghur work camp or be executed or something like that. That was my favorite part of the show. That's a little bit sad, but it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again, to see more of this, she's being observed by the Chinese government, and either she makes it or they're going to break it.
I do need to clarify that wrestler, that's the wrestler Bo. He's been on a couple of NXT tapings.
There's no memory in wrestling.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, yeah, you could be right. He could come off as if he's like some representative, like really. He maybe had the only time he ever had like a good run was during the breakout tournament, but then he only lost like 1 or 2 matches, and that's about it. And that's been like over a year.
Oh, I know fascism when I see it.
Villain, you got anything you want to add up about NXT?
Yeah, the very end that you were talking about, since I thought, I think it's interesting. That's one thing about memory of wrestling. Sometimes, you need to bring some old school stuff back, especially this day and age, because a lot of times, the main roster has mostly all the gimmicks. NXT doesn't really have them, so they did the In Your House. That was kind of cool. They're going to do Halloween Havoc. So it's fun when you could do stuff like that, and to bring out the wheel, I can understand why they're only going to do it probably for 2 matches, because sometimes, that's the good thing about going in the past and looking at what worked and what didn't work is when you could, when you could actually put your, when you could take the good and the bad from it. So to only have it for 2 matches, I think is good. They don't need the whole Halloween Havoc card to be like that, because, unless you have some kind of magnet behind the wheel that's going to actually stop on what you wanted to have, you can't really have these wrestlers going in and saying, oh, when you spin this wheel, whatever lands on, then whatever you guys had rehearsed, you might have to throw it out because now you're gonna have this type of match, and you're gonna have 10 minutes, so you got to figure out on the fly. So, yeah, so William Regal, it's always good to see him up there. The chair was cool getting thrown, and it seems like we're gonna have some fun at Halloween Havoc, and that's all we care about as wrestling fans. Going in excited to see what's gonna happen. So I think the wheel is gonna be unique. I think it's gonna be fun, especially for those two matches. We don't know what the stipulation is gonna be, what the outcome could be. So that's gonna have us looking forward to it. So that's 2 thumbs up right there, man, when it comes to wrestling logic.
I just want to point out that Villain apparently thinks kayfabe is real. Come on, it is going to be a digital wheel. They're going to manipulate that bitch so it lands on what they want. But JB3, what do you think?
So the wheel's cool. Yeah, whatever. They probably will manipulate it, but I just want to mention one thing. I think it's hilarious that William Regal punished Johnny Gargano by giving him a title shot.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That's pretty much all I had to say about that.
I don't understand this whole Shotzi Blackheart wolf cry thing. I don't really like it, and that's just small nitpicking of me. I almost would rather see Ember Moon do that, but that is nitpicking at its best. All right, guys, let's jump to the other Wednesday Night War. And I'm going to start off with our tag team wrestling expert here. So as soon as I'm done, brother, you hit it. We had the AEW World Tag Team title match. The champs, FTR, took on Best Friends. Poor Chuck Taylor got knocked the fuck out before it got going. FTR took advantage from the get-go. Best Friends came back, destroyed poor Kip Sabian's video game system. FTR cheated and picked up the win. JB3, break it down.
Well, yeah, you broke down the match. So I don't know how I feel about the video game spot. I mean, it is what it is. But as far as the match goes, like I was fine with it. I'm a fan of tag team matches opening. They're really showcasing FTR a lot the past few weeks. They're giving him title matches to people every single week. I think that's being purposely done. They're cheating to win, which is what they're the heels. They're gonna. I like how they're. So I criticized them 2 weeks in a row for doing the same type of match. I'm so cool with like them cheating to win every single time. I just want to see new, unique ways to do it. So this was really good for me. I don't think it really drops the stock of the Best Friends at all. Just because they've never really had. I mean, they do have a good record and they do have a lot of wins in the ring, but like their big win was in a street fight. That's what they're being remembered for right now, which wasn't a wrestling match. It was a fight. So they went into FTR, and FTR, they're wrestlers, and they're by any means, let's have Tully Blanchard on our side to help us win by any means tag teams. So it works for me. I'm interested to. Are they gonna go like next week and defend them again? I didn't hear anything, but they probably will. If they don't wrestle somebody, they'll.
Yeah. Okay. Villain, what'd you think?
Woo! We finally got to a good something we can actually get excited about. That's AEW. Woo!
Holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen,
You know what?
Breaking news right here on Suplex City Chats. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, has joined All Elite Wrestling. You heard it here.
Woo! He already did, brother, but you weren't there. Me and Ryan, we met him. Me and Jane Shimo actually got a Funko Pop from the legend himself, Ric Flair, but that's on some other level shit, which y'all guys, ain't privy to.
Talk about.
Anyway, man, after watching Dark, that was like the appetizer, when you go to a restaurant, But I was greedy, Me and Ryan, we sat at the table and we ordered like 3 appetizers, But then we had a big meal coming, and that's what Dark was like. After we got done with the appetizer, now we just sit there, just waiting for that meal to come. And that meal came in Thursday night, and that was the show we're talking about now. That's AEW Dynamite. Woo! Yeah, so you know what? This match was different for FTR, which was good. They went outside the ring, the refs over there, the rules are loose. The rules are loose, It's like the chick, you can pick up on a Friday night, Sometimes the during the week the rules might be a little different, but when it comes to that weekend, when they need that paper, the rules are a little different, So, it was cool. Some of the stuff I do got to nitpick, and that whole arcade video game shit was, once it was there, it was a telltale sign. Like, okay, that's weird. That shit wasn't there for the whole first year. Now Kip Sabian's out there playing a fucking game on the arcade fucking machine. Like, I don't even know if that shit was plugged in. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because it's in the middle of the outside during a match. So it's like you deliberately had somebody with not a forklift. What the hell they call that shit? Like the little hand cart. That's what it's called, a hand cart. Bring that shit to the arena. Bring it all the way there. Set it down. Plug it in. Then put the code in so Kip Sabian don't have to spend no quarters on that shit. So that was weird. But I like that FTR was outside the ring doing stuff, not just being in the
cardboard.
Ring, not being outside.
It was cardboard.
No shit, but but I'm talking about over the railing. They were outside fighting over the railings. And yeah, JB3 said it correctly. Best friends. Even when they were in New Japan, I didn't care for them. They don't have the look for me. Sorry, to diss them like that. They don't have the look for me. I mean, in real life, maybe they're big dudes, but, on TV, when you're a wrestler, you have to have a look. And as a tag team, they never looked the part for me in New Japan. They don't look the part in AEW. They are remembered for having a great street fight match. But yeah, so the whole thing about this was, one of the guys smashing, Kip Sabian's game, Kip Sabian getting super fucking upset.
Get him!
Telling his wife, or not his fiance, Penelope, to go, and then they go in the ring, and then, they cheat to win. And then the best thing about it was at the end when Penelope Ford came back out. That's always a treat, That's like the little mint you get after the meal, So she comes out, and then she brings out Mero, and he comes out in the ring and he clotheslines both of them. He suplexes the shit out of both of them, Scott Steiner style. Throws them out the ring, so now we're gonna have that feud. As silly as it is, for what they have Mero doing, I'm still kind of waiting to see what's gonna happen because I like him as a wrestler, and I know it's silly as shit. Like the match didn't really mean nothing. The match was just another win for FTR. It's just the aftermath is where the storyline's going. So I guess that's gonna be the next feud. Is gonna be Mero and Homeboy against the Best Friends, which is weird. He's called the Best Man, so I don't know what their tag team name is going to be, and they're going to go against the Best Friends. So, I'm excited to see that.
That shit was funny as hell. He just looks at her and goes, "Get him!"
Yeah, he came out. And I like that he's speaking his, his Bulgarian language. His native tongue. He's speaking that. Yelling, and then then I'll speak a little English. So I'm digging that.
Oh yeah, I personally liked all of this. FTR sold their stuff. It continued the storyline. Wait, something Dose has talked about before. Storylines. Oh my god, wait a minute. Am I losing my shit here? Am I losing my mind, or does a wrestling company actually have storylines? I need a minute to think about that. Dose, you want to talk while I ponder the meaning of life?
Well, yes, I do, Matty G. And as a matter of fact, I have a little bit of a proposal for you or for the group, but since it's your show, I want you to take it. But I have a condition. There's only a few things I want to talk about on this show. And one of them is the Miro match. Another one is the tournament brackets for the number one contender, and the comedy segments, Britt and Tony at the spa, and the Jericho and MJF stuff. The rest of the stuff I really don't want to talk about. But here's the proposal, and I need everyone to agree to it. I want each of you to take a turn pretending to be me, saying what I would say about the matches, because I think that you all at this point can play me very well and actually do this. Paynemaker, don't make that face. You of all people should be able to channel exactly what I'm going to say. You just don't want the words to come out of your mouth. I understand. So what do you think, Matty?
I'd love to hear it. What I think you would say is you don't like best friends. We all know that. FTR do their thing. When you see him do a match, you know that Tully's going to get involved. He did exactly the same thing he did the week before, where he grabs the foot, they roll over. They continued. He busted him in the mouth, and that was that. You liked Miro coming out because you got to see the best friends get squashed.
Pretty close. I would also say too long to sell for these jabronis. Also, I didn't really mind the video game thing, although it wasn't plugged in, because they have been playing that video game, I think, for at least 1 week before, if not 2 weeks before. So it wasn't strange that it was still there. So I actually thought it was a clever use of the video game itself. And I don't know why everyone's complaining about it. There's been wrestling feuds over much stupider things than that. But that said, you did a pretty good job being me, Matt. So I think this experiment is starting out pretty well.
All right. Paynemaker, you don't look happy.
No, it's just more of I can't challenge you because I do dig the best friends, honestly. Look, I understand that their chemistry and their gimmick as a tag team doesn't really suit and mesh well with a lot of people. To me, they work fantastic when they're doing their skits on BTE along with Orange Cassidy. But I see in the ring that they're completely two different wrestlers, and I like how at times that they're able to really work together as a team. And I came into these guys. I came across these guys in a few Ring of Honor matches, honestly. And I guess personally for me, I thought this was a very good competitive match. Although, yeah, Haven, to be honest, I don't think that arcade was definitely not plugged in. One of the biggest signs is that Penelope Ford didn't even look like she was attempting to play. I mean, she does game because I know she has a Twitch channel, but it's clear here she was just like button mashing. Because to be honest, if the camera had panned around to over her shoulder, you see there was nothing playing on that damn screen. So when the whole thing broke, that was just told of because in actuality, video game arcades, they are much thicker and a whole lot heavier. So if they actually crashed into that, guaranteed concussion. So,
bro, kayfabe is fucking real. Shut up, man.
I know kayfabe is real, but when you try to bring video game arcades, which were the happy moments of my childhood, into this whole thing, I'm sorry, I'm gonna break that apart because I've tried in the past along with old friends at elementary schools, to break open a goddamn video game arcade. Problem is that you can't even crack the fucking screen, depending on what rocks we threw at it. But that aside, yeah, pretty much a good match. FTR did their best to, at first, they weren't trying to take the best friends as seriously, calling them comedy gimmick wrestlers. It's not until the best friends started amping things up, you start seeing FTR be like, okay, they're not just going to dance around these guys or just do their simple little in and out tags anymore. No, they're going to go to work. So them having to, especially towards the end, after the strong zero that was done, it was obvious to me those guys, they were going to pull a cheat. It depends on how it was going to be done. And I liked how it looked as if the ref felt like he was about to get hit by one of those wrestlers, going over that stupid gag to where, oh, you bumped the ref is knocked out. So it's more, no, the ref's smarter. He ducks, which leads to Wheeler decking Trent with that belt, or was it Chuck with that belt, and they get the win. And also with Miro coming out, I do appreciate the fact that they're going to feud next. I mean, I'll speak more a little on that later. I just feel like right now, and at the same time, best friends feel like the perfect team too, because they're such a tandem team. And from that street fight they had with Santana Ortiz, they're just the good veterans to work with Miro to make this guy look like a goddamn powerhouse, as if one body slam will send you to the hospital. I think they feel like a good team to go against Miro.
All right.
And
so then the bell rings. You know,
No, well, you didn't go to JB3.
I was first.
Oh, that's right. My fault.
I was like, man,
right.
I thought I got this.
I thought my fault. You're right, brother. Go ahead.
You're good.
Sorry.
You're good. I actually remembered this time, but thank you for trying to keep me on my toes. So basically, you know, the match happens. Got to give the people what they want. The big hug. Miro runs out, like we said, destroys them. We know where that's going. Next up, Kip Sabian and Miro had a match against Sean Maluda and Lee Johnson. This is how they should have had his opening match, his debut match, where he just fucking ran through everybody. And I personally think Miro had the line of the night where he goes, "Good friends, you break my shit."
Like that. Love that line.
I loved it. So, Paynemaker, what do you want to talk about with this?
Just to extend my thoughts, this match, with them going up against Lee Johnson and I mean, for the guys who mainly we see on Dark, I do agree. This was the kind of match we needed to have Miro show himself, because if you see throughout the entire match, it was Miro dominating with Sabian only getting one hit. It pretty much was AEW trying to apologize for Miro's debut match, honestly. And to me, it felt like it looked like a good apology, because Miro, he wasn't trying to be he wasn't trying to use the same style that he did when he was in the WWE. He was just going to be like, okay, powerhouse, slam, maybe a couple of kicks, you know, just trying to get some of the basics down. So most likely when that feud with the Best Friends happen, we're going to see Miro get more invested in the wrestling, not just doing a simple power slam or a mid-air Uranagi. He's actually going to get down to it when it comes with the Best Friends. So this felt like a good, once again, another way for him to dip his toe right back into wrestling.
Yeah, and now I'm kind of curious to see how heel he's going to go. All right, Dose, you wanted to talk about this. Let's hear your opinion on this.
Yeah, it's just because this is one of the few things that I enjoyed on the show, because it was what should have been the debut match. The only issue I had with the match itself was that the whole story was Miro was doing everything on his own, and as soon as they said that, he tagged in Kip Sabian. Now Kip Sabian did all of one move, and then tagged Miro back in, so it was okay. But I would have rather just seen Miro do everything, because he is the best man. There was one sort of awkward botch at the end when he was trying to put on the game over, which used to be the Accolade, which those of us that are older than 30 or watch reruns know as a camel clutch. But in any event, he I guess the guy's chin was sweaty or he missed it or whatever, but he was applying the camel clutch to nothing for about a second and a half, but I'm sure it felt like a minute to him. And then they fixed it up, and but it was funny. The guy was selling for nothing, and he was leaning back for nothing. So I don't know. It sort of feels like this whole thing with Miro is sort of, you know, even when it goes right, it goes a little bit wrong. But here's hoping to the future. And the Best Friends are exactly the right palookas to be victimized by Miro.
All right. How do you feel about Miro actually putting in the work? Does he fit your sizeism?
Oh yeah. Miro's a beast. Right. You want to hear a piece of Bulgarian trivia?
Sure.
Okay. In Bulgaria, it's the only place in the world where nodding means no and shaking your head means yes. So if you're ever talking to a Bulgarian stripper and she's saying she's doing that, she's lying to you.
Okay. And there's your Bulgarian trivia for the night. All right, Villain, what'd you think of this squash match?
I thought it was great. I think it's a great use of people, and that's what you know what, I'm gonna go on a little side different thing here. You know, since everybody else usually does that. I can see Triple H coming out on TV or ESPN or something saying like, you know, oh, we couldn't compete with AEW because they're owned by a billionaire, and that's why we suck ass, not because our storytelling is shit, but because they have money. No. But this is what fucking NXT should be doing with their guys when they try to build up guys, is bringing people in and and having them job out. Like, we don't have to just see it on Dynamite. We've seen it here on Dark. You had two guys that are good talents, that we've seen on Dark, way more offense on Dark, but this time, they stepped in the ring with a Bulgarian beast that was pissed off because his homeboy's game got messed up. He's the best man, trying to coordinate this wedding, and then these guys pull that shit, so he already got his blood flowing after he beat up the best friends, and to go straight into this match, I liked it. I think Penelope could have did a little more outside, maybe I don't know, maybe she could have just, did some hand signs or something out there, whatever. Kip Sabian coming in just doing one move is fine, because even when Miro was beating the shit out of the best friends, Kip Sabian, he only did one move on the best friends. That's when Miro grabbed him and threw him to the guy and kicked him in the face, and that was it. Miro did the rest to those dudes. So, he looked as strong as hell, and this is what I'm talking about when I was talking about the stuff when we were talking about the draft. He's doing different moves now, a little different stuff, because he's doing that suplex that Taz did, that Scott Steiner did. Now he's doing that, and hey, I'm all for this. A good squash match is a good squash match, and he looked like a beast. And, I don't mind the whole partner with Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian was with a tag team. They were teaming them up because AEW is all about having their guys team up with somebody else. But then his tag partner, I'm not going to say his name, but his tag partner got in hot water, got released. So, he was kind of like solo again. And now he's with a partner that's way better, way stronger, way more credible. So, yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes.
All right, JB3, lay it on us, brother.
Yeah, Villain said it. I mean, everyone, look, every time this dude is back given something to do, he's always do it out of the park, blew it out of the water. And when he was in the WWE, he got resented for it. He would get something over, and then guess what? That was it. He would get it over, and they would get mad, and they would get buried. Now he comes into AEW. They give him some whatever. People don't agree with it. He's like, keep saying it, whatever. But wow, just give him some time. He's gonna make it work. He's gonna make it happen, even if he misses the game over for a little bit. I didn't think it was that bad. There's a picture out there that makes it look horrible.
Looks like you're ripping the guy's hair out.
Right, but it was, it is what it is, but we just gotta give him a chance. The match, it was the perfect match for him. As far as whether or not he should have gotten Kip Sabian should have did a move or not, I don't know. I could see it being cool both ways, I guess. Because Kip is really good. Like, he's really good in the ring. Like, I don't know if he ever gets a chance to showcase it. He's smaller. That's why they need a cruiserweight division.
Yep.
They got a lot of smaller guys who can do the stuff. They just, But maybe that's a good reason he's with Miro. Because Miro is believable against anybody.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Next we had basically Tony or Jim, whoever, JR, whoever, go, holy shit, basically they're fighting in the background. Lance Archer beating the fuck out of Mox. And then it's time for MJF's big announcement. MJF and Wardlow walk out to the ring. He says, I'm not here to get on top. I'm here to stay on top, baby. Insert a giggity here. Then he called for the Demo God. Demo God showed up. MJF gave Sammy the oversized fucking jacket that would fit me. MJF says, wow, fits like a glove. MJF starts sucking Mox's dick, basically, or Jericho's dick, basically. Jericho goes, "All right, Max, cut the shit. You promised a groundbreaking announcement, so let's hear it." MJF replies, "Chris, we've never gotten physical in an AEW ring. You never see two piranhas eating each other. You know why? Mutual respect. We're two predators swimming around prey. Unfortunately, prey is adapting, and we're going to need to adapt if we need to stay on top. So, Chris, what if we work together?" Jericho replied, "What are you getting at, Max?" And MJF says, "Christopher, I maybe possibly hypothetically want to join the inner circle." Ortiz snaps and says, "We don't want you in the inner circle." Jericho replies, "Hold on. How about next week me and you meet up for a one-on-one steak dinner?" MJF says, "You're on." This was just entertaining as hell. And Dose, I know you've got some thoughts on it later.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really good segment. It was really well done. There was a lot of nuance and side stories there. Nothing that we haven't talked about earlier. That they're teasing schisms. MJF continues to toy with Sammy, which made you think that Sammy is going to be the breakaway. Of course, not to get ahead of ourselves, but there's something later in the show that almost belies that. But also, it was Ortiz who sort of took the lead on speaking out, and then at the end you had Hager doing the prolonged stare down with Wardlow, which is it's semi-interesting. Hager's not interesting, but if they're gonna have two guys square off, that's fine. But yeah, basically it ended in MJF and asking Jericho out on a date or vice versa, and accepting. But it was comedy. We've sort of seen this shtick a few times before, but it's good. They do it well. Everybody sings. They're both very good on the mic. So this was one of the better segments on the show. It was not the best segment on the show because the best segment on the show was Britt Baker, of course. But this was good. I give this segment 2 thumbs up.
Which was actually next, by the way. JB3, what do you think?
I was cool with it. I don't want MJF to join the inner circle, so I'm not too sure. Like I feel like there's only one way to go with this, and it would be the big way. If you're gonna have someone like MJF, who is the biggest heel that they can be, and you got someone like Chris Jericho, who's headed to pretty much near the end of his career, and every time he comes out, everyone sings his entrance music, which is sang by him, by his band, and they sing him to the ring. I mean, if it were me, like, and I was writing the show, and it would make sense that Ortiz snapped on him and that he's messing with Sammy, like the only option is for the inner circle to turn on Jericho and for MJF to become the new leader of the inner circle and Jericho to turn face. That's what I would do.
That could be. All right, Villain, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was good. It was funny. Both of these guys are natural talkers. And that's the good thing about AEW is that they let the guys talk. They're not, even though BT wants you to believe that they, sit them for hours on end in a promo class, that's not the case. These guys go out there and they actually just, sink or swim, but they prove themselves and the management trusts them where they're like, yo, go out there, be yourself, and talk your shit. And that's what they do. And it's amazing. The other wrestling companies should take notes, with the 3 shows they fucking got. They should take notes on that shit. But, I go a different way because MJF is so young that I don't want him to be the leader of the inner circle, especially when he's clowning, the members. And, first he's clowning Sammy 2 weeks, in a row. And then now Ortiz is kind of like, I think this is going to boil down to maybe like a tag team match, and it's going to be it's going to be Jericho and Hager. I know a lot of people don't like Hager. I like Hager. I wish he was a little buffer, like he used to be. Maybe had way better ring gear, but that's just me. If he had better ring gear and he was doing the stuff he was doing, years ago, just killing it in the ring. And Wardlow, I like Wardlow a lot, man. So we got to see where this goes because for the last couple months we thought Wardlow was going to turn on MJF and go face, but I think at the next pay per view, I think they should have a tag team match. MJF and Jesus Christ, Wardlow versus Jericho and Hager. I think that would be about it match because this is the second year now. We're actually in year 2 now. This is first week of year 2 of AEW, and MJF is gonna have to start wrestling more, in my opinion, because you could talk, and a lot of people like that, where you don't see a guy wrestle for months on end, but you want him to win all these titles and all that stuff. But I'm a true wrestling fanatic, from the 80s, and I like to see my guys wrestle, so I just want MJF to wrestle more because the talking is cool and shit, but that's why I get turned off by WWE sometimes, because if you could talk a little bit, then you don't have to wrestle in WWE and still get accolades. I like people that actually could wrestle. Yeah, talking is great, but wrestle too. So I think MJF needs to start wrestling a lot more now. And Wardlow, I ain't gonna complain if I see Wardlow wrestling more matches. I'm never gonna complain about that. So that's all I gotta say about that, brother.
Damn. All right, Cassidy, tell us what you thought. Okay. Next up, we had the 40-year-old virgin, or should I say the 70-year-old virgin with Tony Schiavone. Him and Dr. Britt Baker went to the spa for the day, and we learned rule number 5 to be legendary. Britt Baker says you got to be the baddest bitch on the block. Then they find out Tony was naked, and they start 40-year-old virgining his ass. JB3, what'd you think?
The finding out that he was naked and the doing that part was fine, but the actual funniest part to me was the very beginning. And I started cracking up because he was doing his interview while he was getting the spa done with her. It was hilarious, and because he was holding the microphone like that, he was holding the microphone up. Got me. That's what got me more than anything. He was wearing naked, but he had the microphone up to her mouth, like, oh yeah, like, and they're like supposedly friends, so it made sense in a weird way. But yeah, the microphone, holding the microphone like that cracked me up.
That shit was funny. Bill, what'd you think?
I thought this was really funny and entertaining. I'm liking the pairing of Tony Schiavone and Britt Baker. That's one thing we never expected when they, first announced Britt Baker as the first woman signed, and then we hear Tony Schiavone's going to be announcer. But to have him doing skits is something that I think every week, man, Adam Cole's sitting at home, watching this on replay saying, damn, I wish I was there with her, man, to be chilling with Tony Schiavone, having fun, because this shit was just stupid funny, man. Like, yeah, the whole 40-year-old virgin thing at the end, which, people are going to, keep bringing that up. And it's like, what the fuck y'all think WWE does? They don't do shit when it's modern. WWE's always fucking like years behind. Like, oh, that shit was funny, so let's do that now. Like, no, that shit's not even funny no more. We got all no. I want that funny shit that I've seen before. But you know what? The whole him in the spa with her, in the beginning, he's got the mic. I guess she didn't realize that he was gonna get him, get naked too, and get himself serviced up, which I don't know how that's possible unless she went in first and then he came in after. And then the people came in and started touching their bodies. So, Reba's amazing too. She comes in, she's like, screaming. And then Britt gets up and looks over and she's screaming. And then they have the whole, ripping the shit off his chest. I mean, they had like 3 different skits there. I forget what the second thing was. I forget what was in the middle. I think when she was getting her feet waxed. No, I think they were doing their feet because they did like a close up to her feet. But this to me, I think it's a great pairing because she's just coming back from injury, and to have her with Tony Schiavone, because Jim Ross couldn't do this shit, and my guy's feelings on Jim Ross on commentary right now. He doesn't bring the excitement he used to do, and maybe I understand. I gotta be sympathetic. He had a stroke. He's older now, but he just doesn't sound excited at all when he's on the mic, commentating. He doesn't bring the intensity anymore, the catchphrases anymore like he used to do. And that's why I'm like, this is not Jim Ross to me, It's like, but anyway, yeah, the segment was great. I give it 2 thumbs up.
All right, Cassidy.
I'm going to take a quick break from my thumbs up, and I'm going to say that Britt has 100% proved that she is a megastar. Taking something that could have just been a simple her browbeating Tony Schiavone in a spot, and instead turning it into a genius comedy bit with her and Rebel/Reba. It was fantastic. And also at the same time, I look forward to more lessons or tips from Britt Baker, because clearly she's on a straight shot to facing Hikaru Shida.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, Dose, what'd you think?
This was amazing. This was awesome sauce, amazeballs. This was hysterical. One of my proudest achievements of 2020 is being on board with the Britt Baker Express from Cruise episode 1. Everyone's like, was she drunk? What was that? Why was she so mean to Tony? What was that with the Starbucks? I'm like, that was fantastic. It might have been the only reason I tuned into the next episode. And I thought the next 4 or 5 months of AEW was fabulous. And she has been one of the MVPs of this COVID era. She's been amazing. We cannot do it justice. So, folks, find the YouTube clip or something, but watch it. Just watch it. And here's a hot take that's going to piss some people off, because I am evil after all. Get rid of the women's division. Get rid of it. Put Britt Baker on commentary. Give her a segment like Piper's Pit. Let Reba stay as her assistant. Keep doing the comedy gold. She isn't that good a wrestler. She's already been injured seriously twice in 1 year. Her career, she's a dentist, so she don't need this shit. And let her do this. She's brilliant at it. This chemistry, you cannot fake this kind of chemistry. You can't manufacture it. It comes around once in a lifetime. Jesse Ventura was still a damn good wrestler when he went to commentary, but he was better on commentary. So get rid of the thing everyone complains about, the women's division, and let's enjoy the rest of the show. Dose out.
Oh, all right. Next up, TNT Championship time. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, the blonde Cody, came back with Brandy and Arn. Took on Orange Cassidy. First off, we see Darby Allin hanging from the rafters like an emo Sting, to quote somebody I heard earlier. This was, in my opinion, other than the Pac match, Orange Cassidy's best match. They went at it. I want to give whoever refed this match absolutely 100% credit, because that last 10 seconds, had it not the ref had his chemistry, it wouldn't have worked. I enjoyed it. I like the fact it went to a time limit draw. Cassidy actually wrestled, and the Cassidy Mark can take it from there.
Well, the first thing we do need to start off with is that Cassidy's normal tricks of starting with his hands in pockets, Cody wasn't falling for any of that stuff, because Cody is back. He's more aggressive. He is the TNT champion. He's going to bring honor to that belt. So all of Cassidy's antics throughout the entire ring of putting his hands in his pockets, the Cassidy kicks, and even just the kip up, it was all nothing but felt but disrespectful to Cody. So every time Cassidy was doing one of his quirks, the moment Cody shoved him in the chest, that was pretty much Cassidy, because the moment he threw those shades out, he came to play. And he did not disappoint with that one hell of a doubt. And when he spilled out into the outside of the ring with Cassidy, even though the Dark Order got involved, there was definitely a good amount of time with Cassidy holding that TNT championship while the Dark Order is being evicted. And to most people, with him looking at that, in some ways, it could have telegraphed him using that belt. But the fact he gives it to Arn Anderson shows that there is definitely a dimension. There's a side to Cassidy that, if he's pushed far enough, he will be just as aggressive and as brutal as Cody. But instead, Cassidy he stuck to his guns. He used his tactics to help outsmart Cody, help frustrate him to where we got that time limit draw in the end. Because to be honest, if Cassidy fought against Cody the way he fought against Jericho, this would not have been a time limit draw. Instead, he reverted to his style as he did against Pac. He played every situation out to frustrate Cody. So when Cody slips up, Cassidy takes advantage. And in the end, I think the time limit is perfect because it's not in a way of protecting others, but it's to remind everybody that these time limits are here. So whenever you hear the ref or you hear Justin Roberts go, 5 minutes remaining, 3 minutes remaining, that's not gimmick. That's there for a reason. And this is one of those reasons.
It kind of felt like a G1 match to me. Kind of an opening G1 match where you've got the gimmick and they follow it, but they have a good match because of it. Villain, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. The only problem I have with it is, the commentary could have been better. Maybe they could have played it up where, since Cody had that dog collar brutal match, last week, that maybe that's why, he couldn't put Cassidy away, because it's like Cody fought a guy twice his size last week and beat him. And then this week he's fighting a guy twice less than his size, and then it goes to a time limit draw, or a time limit, finish. The Dark Order come out trying to get revenge with what they talked about on BTE. So that was cool. Orange Cassidy holding the belt and then giving it to Arn. That just shows that he's a good guy. Right now he is a baby face. He's not going to cheat right now or deliberately cheat, on some, crossing the line to win, a title. But to me, at the end of it, I'm just kind of like, unless Cody's bringing back the weekly open challenge, like, this is not a feud, so this kind of just ends right there. So what do you do next with Cassidy? Like, you're trying to build him up. You had him beat Jericho, and then now you have the time limit, loss, in this match. So I just got to see where he goes next week from here, because with Darby Allin. With Darby Allin and Raptors, I don't get it, because he's beefing with Ricky Starks, and Team Taz, which, they did a little something on Dark about that, which still was like, okay. So, I don't know. But, yeah, the match is good. Cody, people want to keep shitting on Cody like he's Jeff Jarrett, he's Triple H. No, he's not, man. He's Cody Rhodes. He's doing what he's doing, and I don't mind it, A lot of people hate on him, but it's like, if you're held down for 10 years, when you have the ability to do better and you have a voice and nobody ever wanted to listen to you back then, now you have the opportunity to bring your voice to the forefront and do what you want to do. Who's not going to take that up, So
Right.
The match was good, and he's not burying people. He's having competitive matches every time he wrestles, So I think the match was good,
Now,
I liked all the elements of it, so yeah. That's good.
Now, to answer your question, in 2 weeks, the same night as Halloween Havoc, we are having the rubber match between him and Cody. So that's going to continue. And then they announced at Full Gear, Darby Allin will be challenging for the TNT title. All right, Dose, I'm scared. I'm scared to hear this. Tell us.
Here's the good news. You're not going to hear from me. Someone is going to play me, But because I am a benevolent evil dictator, I'm not going to make Cassidy Mark play me and do this because it'll be too painful for him. And even in Tartarus, we have some mercy for things that's just too cruel. And because villain likes some villain, and because I really am his fault, I want the villain, who I know isn't really done, he's got more on his mind. I want the villain to play me. So, villain, do me proud, channel me, be me analyzing this match.
Well, I got to tell you guys, this match, this was trash. This was a letdown. Orange Cassidy's not on level yet. He shouldn't be there. The stipulation, for him to serve in this title was stupid. Going in, now Cody's got different hair. He's a drama queen. What's next? Next week he's gonna have rainbow hair. Coming out. He's got his entourage. Yeah. He always wants to have the pyro, and the match could have been 3 minutes long, and that would have been too long for me. But yeah, this was what I expected, and I was disappointed.
All right, JB3, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought the collar and elbow, the tie-up, whole scenario thing worked. Cassidy looked small compared to Cody. Cody looks like a beast. As far as the match, I got more invested the more and more it goes down. Cody works a lot of good matches, I say, but I must say he works really well against smaller opponents. It was timed very well at the end. I mentioned before the stream started how I applaud Cassidy's effort to sell the knee in the last minute and going for that orange punch or whatever you call it. It didn't look that good. But going into the mousetrap and having the pin be so close, I think it works. They're protecting Orange Cassidy still. At least he had a wrestling match. After this type of a match, not too many people can say that he can't wrestle. They like people can still criticize him for not being a believable wrestler because of, like we said, size, attitude, character, whatever. Dude can go. And Cody does bring out the best in people, but all in all, we're gonna see another match. I'm interested. Maybe they don't do this a lot. So what I'm hoping happens is that in 2 weeks they get the next match, and maybe in that match Cody goes to pin him and the time runs out. And then it'd be like, oh snap, what are we gonna do? And then Darby Allin will be there. And maybe we can get at Full Gear Cody versus Darby versus Orange Cassidy in a triple threat match. Or they'll call it a 3-way dance or whatever they want to call it.
Nice.
I don't see too many 3-ways, and they might do that every now and then. I mean, they've done them before, but not many.
That'd be interesting. All right, next up, Alex Marvez was trying to interview the Murder Hawk, and him and Mox got into another fight. Big Papa Tony Khan announced it's going to be a no DQ match, which these two, had it not been a no DQ match, it would have been wrong. Anybody really want to talk about that?
Nope.
Alrighty then. Matt Hardy was being interviewed ringside with Tony Schiavone, which he seems to have had a busy couple of days. Matt and his family say that he's cleared to wrestle. A video comes on the screen. A person gets out of a car wearing a hoodie. You see pictures of Matt Hardy up, and he starts to burn them, and it turns out to be Sammy Guevara. And he admits he's the one that hit Matt with the bat before the Jericho match. I really don't want this match to happen. I wish they could keep these two as far apart as possible because every time something happens, Matt Hardy gets hurt. Whether he almost dies, he gets hit in the head with the chair, or something. I just wish this feud would end. Go away. Matt Hardy's going to die. Villain, what do you think?
I agree 100% with you. They don't need Matt Hardy to come back yet. You know, this fucking guy should just stay out for 2 months, you know, or 3 months, get really healed, go to the gym, work out, and then go back to the ring and train before he comes back to a wrestling match. You know, none of this made sense. You know, Sammy was there earlier in the night, you know, got the big ass jacket on, and then I guess him and Paynemaker had the same idea. Okay, that's over. Let me go somewhere else and change and then come back, you know, in the middle of the show, you know. So he comes back with a hoodie on. He comes out of a car. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he went to a hotel. Maybe he went and got some dinner. Then he comes back and then, you know, he already got this demonic shit set up of all these pictures to burn. I could care less about this. Sammy, I like him a lot. You know, he's a young, talented guy. He's got a good heart. And I think that they should move him in a different direction. And I think Matt Hardy should have took way more time off, you know, before coming back because there's no rush. There's really no need for him to come back right now. They could do so much other things with Sammy and then bring Matt back to get a pop when you have more people in the crowd.
Serial Man, what do you think?
Who?
You.
Oh,
what did you say?
I said,
Called you Serial Man.
I said, what do you think, Serial Man?
Oh, because I'm eating cereal. Word. No, I 1000% agree with Villain. I really can't put more to it. That was kind of like explanation, in my opinion. I agree with it. Like,
all right, Dos. You think they need to keep this feud going, or should they break up?
Listen, I mean, the only thing that could have saved this segment would have been Rebby going, "What the hell's wrong with you, Matt?" and taking out a rolling pin like the old cartoons and started calling him stupid and hitting him with it, or a rolled up newspaper. And nobody's mentioned this, and I guess I will. And this is why I asked whether the show was live or taped, and apparently it was live. Well, it was live after a super spreader event where a bunch of AEW guys were at a 3-day indie wrestling show where there was at least one positive COVID test by I think the guy's name was Big Dad Cabana or something like that. In any event, you know, the show's live. Okay, I guess it must go on. I suppose it was the anniversary show, but Matt Hardy brought his family there. He brings his 3 kids to that. Come on, and that's what. No, I mean, just that's really, really poor judgment, which segues directly into continuing working with Sammy to be really, really poor judgment. They need to be 1,000 miles away. It's stupid. I don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see it. I don't know who I want to see Matt Hardy wrestle. Probably no one. He was, I mean, at least he had a role when he was sort of the manager guide for Private Party. I mean, taking 2 young guys under his wing, that sort of made sense. And he wasn't risking life and limb doing it. So let him do that. I mean, no, it was gross.
All right, Cassidy. Speaking of that big QCW thing, Orange Cassidy was there, just FYI, as was Mox and a couple other people.
Santana Ortiz.
Yep.
First things first.
And Janela. Janela's the booker.
First things first, Villain. I don't know what you're talking about. Paynemaker and I are completely 2 different people. And he left this for me just in case you confuse the both of us together. Hopefully you can be able to read that. But as far as all that,
it's racist is what it is.
As far along this whole thing, is it surprising to all of you that it was Sammy again? Because let's be honest, we're not going to give Matt somebody else to feud with. And at this point, it was either they were going to bury it or they were going to try to drag it out. So the fact that they're going to put Sammy in that role again, most likely in a storytelling sense, in a storyteller's point of view, makes sense because that match at All Out, because of how bad it was, they needed a better way to end it. So it's more likely they're going to either end it at Full Gear or they're going to end it on a Dynamite. Because why would they announce that? Why would they have Matt announce that he's he's been cleared by the doctors if they're not going to give him a match either sometime during Dynamite or at Full Gear? Because that's happening close.
Personally, I hope it's neither one, but that's me. All right. Next up, Tony Schiavone showed up with some kind of bingo roller to pick for the 4 teams competing to see who competes against FTR. We've got Private Party, Shocker, Silver and Reynolds, Butcher and the Blade, and the Young Bucks. Young Bucks beat everybody's ass.
Basically.
The way Tony said Young Bucks was fantastic.
Yeah, Tony sold it, but I don't really care. Somebody can lay it out real quick because I don't really care.
I didn't care. It wasn't even a match. I don't know if these teams were the 2nd through 6th ranked team. Obviously, they're not the first, but his Best Friends was the first ranked team coming into it. If they were not the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th ranked teams, and then I don't know why they have the rankings, which is going to dovetail into something else a little bit later. But this was a mess. It wasn't a match. It wasn't well explained. And it was dopey. And the Bucks are continuing to be sort of heels, and they threw the bingo thing at Dax and almost hit Tully, who's 197 years old. So that was really stupid. I don't know. It just, I mean, I know the Bucks are playing like spoiled brat teenagers, but they don't have to act reckless too, which kind of reminds me of the last segment. It seems reckless, and this seemed reckless too.
Yeah,
and it wasn't entertaining. It was just messy. It wasn't well executed either. But I would be curious to know if they were the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th ranked tag teams. I'd feel a little bit better if that was the case.
Bucks are
it was random.
Bucks are 3rd officially. They were behind Best Friends. Butcher and the Blade were 4th, and the other 2 weren't even in the fucking running.
Then where's the trash sign? Can I borrow somebody's trash sign? Perfect. Well done. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next up, we had.
Whoa! Only Evil Dose talks about that.
Oh, my bad. I thought we all agreed it was trash. Go ahead, villain.
I got nothing. I'm gonna find Paynemaker and bring him back in, honestly, so you guys can talk.
Yeah, this was trash too. I completely agree with Evil Dose. This was straight trash. The rankings, I guess, don't matter because it was just all the tag teams thrown into one, spinning golden thing, whatever they call that shit, and then you just pull names out. Young Bucks being there, it just shows that, it's year 2, so they're going to eventually fight for the titles and maybe win them since they haven't had them yet. And, Private Party being there, it just looks like they might be the last 2 teams in it. And then that's, now Young Bucks will be able to defeat them since Private Party beat them before. But if they were going to do like a real tournament to get fans excited, they should have had Ortiz and Santana in there, and they should have had the Lucha Brothers in there. And then Butcher and the Blade is fine, and Young Bucks. But they have teams that are kind of like, I don't care about this. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, them super kicking everybody was kind of like, oh, and it kills me because it's like, even the last match we're going to talk about soon, it's like once they go outside the ring, they're kind of just there. They're seeing the shit happen, people throwing stuff at them, and they're kind of just like, oh, we're just going to stand here, and yeah, we're not going to beat the shit out of these guys while their backs are turned, and they don't. And then it just like, oh, okay, whatever. I thought this was really bad, in my opinion.
Without a doubt. JB3, what do you want to talk about with this?
Nothing.
All right. Paynemaker, you want to talk about that for a minute?
Sorry. What are you guys talking about?
The bullshit tag team bingo draw.
Oh, that was kind of ridiculous. I mean, if they wanted to do a whole situation where they wanted, I would prefer the mini tournament, kind of like what they're going to do for the number one contender for Moxley's for the singles championship, or they could have done like what they've done in the past, like take the top four, like take the 4 ranked teams, like go from 5, 4, 3, 2, and put them like in a 4-way qualifier. They've done that in the past. I thought it would be better this way. Having them roll out bingo style kind of felt to me as if it didn't go their way, it would have been like, oh, I guess we're gonna have these teams fight each other instead. Like if the Bucks did not get picked, and let's say Lucha Bros would have gotten it, how are they gonna rectify that? I mean, I'm pretty sure out of a piece of papers, 5 of them was written for the Young Bucks, so they already rigged that shit. But otherwise, it was ridiculous. Yeah, Young Bucks. Oh, show respect to Private Party, then super kick them. Yeah, you're bad. You went from kicking referees to kicking coaches to kicking Tony Schiavone. Now you're finally doing what you should have been doing, and that's super kicking wrestlers. Come on, you guys come up. Yeah, you come off as entitled assholes instead of actually people with a chip on your shoulder.
That's what they're trying to do, but it doesn't work. All right. Next up, the women's world title match. Sheeta and Big Swole. This was garbage. This was absolutely garbage. I'm sorry. Sheeta and Big Swole should have been fucking on point. I am
growing to like Swole's theme. I am growing to like her theme.
That's what I put up for this match. I'm sorry. I know y'all know how I feel about those two. This was bad. Villain, what do you think?
Oh, I agree. It was trash. This was a fucking letdown. And I always defend the women's division. I'm always defending the women's division, but this match was such a fucking letdown. This match is straight fucking trash, and I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how these wrestlers, they could wrestle on Dark, and I guess because Dark is whatever time limit they feel to have, they seem more secure in their wrestling. They have more time to breathe. And I guess when they're going live on Thursday on Dynamite, the time limit restraints, maybe the pressure of being live on TV is jacking them up. But Big Swole looked like a fucking bum in the ring. She kept trying that twisting, like how Okada does. She's trying that move, but instead of the the Rainmaker, she's doing some other shit. And and it was always off as fuck. The timing was off. Inside the ring, they were off where the positioning was. Because every time Sheeta went to the ropes to do her knee, like she only had like two or three steps, because Swole was so close to the ropes. This was a bad look for the women's division. And I know Sheeta is a great wrestler. She's amazing. And it sucks that, because of COVID, they can't bring the rest of the Yoshi women over there to fill out the roster. So this was just bad as fuck, dude. There's no excuse for this. This was, I can't even speak more. I can't speak more because I think I'm about to throw up, brother, because this shit was trash.
Bro, I'm glad I'm not the only one, so trust me on that. Paynemaker, what you think?
I'll be honest, I was trying to find some positives in this match. It just felt to me that this kind of had shades of Thunder Rosa versus Eva Lise. The only difference was that they were off chemistry after the first 2 minutes, especially after the kip up though, where Hikaru, it looked like Hikaru and both Swole were going to do double kip ups, but then Swole jumps early, and you can see from a camera angle she hits Sheeta from preventing her from doing a kip up to where they were going to, because it looked like they were going to do the whole simple grapple and then bounce by ropes, like shoulder tags or like double clotheslines or so, and then they both do kip ups, to show that they're both on par with each other. And I say God bless the commentary, because they were the inverse from the Cassidy and Cody Rhodes match, where they were trying their best. They were trying their damnedest to make it look like Swole had an answer for everything Sheeta was throwing at her. But it was pretty obvious. It was, I won't say uncoordinated. It was just more of they just weren't gelling together. And at least Sheeta, though she was, at least as the professional she is, she was trying to, find certain ways to get this match going back on track. I'm not going to say it's 100% trash, but if I was giving this a letter grade, this barely gets a passing grade, honestly, by being somewhere within the D range.
Yikes. JB3, what do you think?
Kind of got a confession to make. I didn't watch the match.
Well, I guess.
No, you saved yourself 10 minutes of your life.
There you go.
I told myself I wasn't gonna skip it. But then when they got to the ring, I just started doing other shit. Like, I don't know.
Like what?
I don't remember.
It's probably more interesting than the match was.
Yeah. All right.
I have two things to add to this match.
Oh, okay.
One, the commentary. JR made the funniest remark that I don't know that anybody else caught, but I was laughing for a while, and he didn't mean to be funny, but he said, man, the women have really tried to put in the work this year to improve. I mean, basically burying the division. Secondly, they said, Sheeta is keeping up with Swole in power, and Swole is not used to being matched for power. Swole is like an inch and a half shorter than Sheeta and probably weighs less than her. I made a joke in another universe, in a parallel universe, that Big Swole got her name because she was by far the biggest and the swollest member of the Undisputed Era. Yeah, bam, I said it. She's not a big woman. She's not big. She's not even swole. I mean, Jazz was swole. China was swole. Camille a year ago was swole. Now she's just weird. There are swole women. She ain't it. Terrible match. Awful. She isn't even that good a wrestler. And I think Sheeta's a really good wrestler, but I'm not sure if she's that good a wrestler that she can carry a bad wrestler. And it sure didn't look like it tonight. But I said what I said earlier. Get rid of the women's division, Brit on commentary, give her a Piper's Pit kind of thing. Much better.
There you go. All right. Next up, we had a small package from Sean Spears saying he owes him one. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much going after Scorpio.
Next up, Eddie Kingston with his best friend Penta and Phoenix hit the commentary booth. Out comes Moxley from the crowd. The Murder Hawk Monster has a new theme and wore that same helmet that they had in New Japan. And they basically had their New Japan match again, which I'm not complaining about. God, I don't even know what to say about this match because it was really good. I liked it. Lucha Brothers saved because of Eddie Kingston. Saved Mox from Archer. They even had the same paradigm shift through the table, or in New Japan, the Death Rider. Same idea, actually, same move. And then Eddie Kingston choked him out. I'm gonna go straight to the villain because I know he wants to actually talk about a decent match.
I mean, it was decent, but like you said, it wasn't. It was trying to recreate the New Japan match and it just didn't hit the mark for me personally. I don't know what it is. Like I've said this before here, in the New Japan arena, these matches seem like instant classics to me, where you remember them. And in America, these matches are just what it was. Like they can't do nothing else with Archer. You can't just have a regular match for a title and expect him to have like a wrestling classic with Moxley. So they did the trickery with the, no DQ or whatever it was, no holds barred or weapons or whatever the fuck the match was called. Yeah, they try to hit moves they done before to lesser appeal, in my opinion. Kofi Kingston on the mic, the Lucha Brothers coming out. I was like, all right, whatever. And then Jake Snake is out there. Doesn't have a snake anymore, which is a letdown. Big letdown for me personally. And Moxley pins him with a roll up. Not even a roll up. He did like a crucifix pin.
Yeah.
Which was when you're 6'7" or 6'8", and the guy you're wrestling is like 6'2", like weighs not even. You got the guy about like 70 pounds. Like, how does he pin your shoulders to the mat like that when you just fucking put him on the mat with your finishing move? So yeah, the ending came out of nowhere. Which, oh, my fault. I didn't even realize my thumb was there. That could have been something else in my body part. Y'all wouldn't even notice. YouTube.
That's what she said.
But so the ending came out of nowhere. Surprising ending. So it kind of saves Lance, I guess, a little bit. Because it was like, oh shit, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes that's good. And this match, for what it was, yeah, that was fine. And then the ending didn't make no fucking sense. Which I'm just like, I don't get this stuff that's going on with AEW. All right, Lance Archer, pissed. He's gonna put the beat down on Moxley. Jake is like, yeah, get him. And then Kofi Kingston's like, oh no, come on, guys.
Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston. I'm sorry, yeah, Eddie Kingston. He comes and he's like, no, come on, guys, let's go to the ring and save this guy. And then you have fucking Phoenix hit Lance Archer in the back with a chair. He don't sell the chair. He just looks at them, and then he just walks out the ring. And him and Jake Roberts stay on the entranceway for a little bit to see what's going on. And like, no, fuck that, bro. Like, if the motherfucker hit me in the back with a chair, he should have big booted fucking Phoenix into the front row. He should have chokeslammed the shit out of fucking Pentagon, and then maybe he gets whacked in the head by Kingston to make a save, and then maybe he rolls out the ring, and Jake the Snake's like, okay, now you fucked up. But no, we just had him bitched out. Somebody smacked him on his ass. He turns around. It's like prison. This dude got smacked in the ass first day in the shower. He turned around and looked, and it's like, oh, let me just go to my cell. What you think is going to happen the next day? You're somebody's bitch. That's all Lance Archer's proved. That he was like, oh, you just hit me with a chair, a foreign object, and I'm just going to leave the ring peacefully, because, Phoenix, you're fucking 1 foot smaller than me and 150 pounds less than me. But you know what? I ain't gonna mess with you because, man, you hit me with that chair. You gave me that love tap. Now I'm infatuated. And then Kingston, he looks good when he's wearing regular clothes, but then when he has his matches, he looks like a fucking jobber. So he, he talked good, and the whole storyline where, oh, I knew John Moxley. They showed pictures before, so we're kind of got to buy into it. But it's like a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people ain't still believing that. I don't believe that because when we know John Moxley, we knew him when he first joined the Shield and had his run there and did his shit. So for him to get helped up, and then he hit him with the bitch slap, the backhand bitch slap, and then he put him in the chokehold to end the show. Which I'm like, I don't want to see fucking Kingston fighting Moxley again. Like, that's not a match I could care about, to be honest. I'd rather have Moxley fighting Pentagon. I'd rather him wrestling Phoenix for 30 minutes. Kingston, I don't want that match to go more than 5 fucking minutes because Kingston is not a in-ring storyteller. He's not a general in the ring. He doesn't have those moves, to keep a match going for longer than a while. So what's this match going to be? 7 minutes and 35 seconds on TV? Like, come on, man. Like to me, this shit was, to me, the ending was just fucking stupid.
All right, JB3, lay it on us.
I mean, yes, it was the same as the New Japan match. New Japan had better tables, not safer tables. I specifically remember Lance Archer getting completely busted open the super hard way in the New Japan match. But the match was fine. Moxley, it's weird. I'm never a fan of those finishes where you get hit with a finisher and then immediately roll the other guy up. It's like, really? Like Cody just did that a few months ago, and I'm just like, I never really am. I'm never a fan of those endings. Like, you're out. How do you all of a sudden just grab them up? Like, I don't know. Like, it kind of buries the finisher in a way. Like, you didn't just kick out of their finisher, but you like, when you play WWE 2K, Villain knows this because I also play very much so a lot. Some of the roll-ups that you could do on there, you can either reverse it, and if you hit it in the green, you will reverse it, or you will kick out. But if there's a very smaller yellow portion, and if you hit it in the yellow portion, you will actually reverse the pin. Into a whole nother pin. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Like, he got hit with the finisher, but he hit that yellow part and turned it into another pin.
I never saw how he actually rolled it into that pin. I don't understand how that would work, because if you think about it, when Lance Archer hits that whatever they call it, that flip, the blackout, you basically end up with him sitting on top of you. So it kind of doesn't make sense.
It's because he did that back pin.
Yep.
Yeah. But I agree. I don't like the way that ended, but I love the fact though that Mox put that chokehold on and he just stood up and no-selled it. He's like, motherfucker, I should be in the G1, not fucking jobbing.
I think that was a mixture of both. Like, he's doing a no-sell, but at the same time, it's Mox he's always used that chokehold on more beefier guys, like he did with Brian Cage, or he's done with Butcher, and he did with Kingston. But someone like Lance Archer, who's much longer and a lot leaner, a choke like that's not going to work, because all Archer got to do is, you just got to fucking stand up, and that's it.
He did, though. He straight up no-sold that choke. I like the fact he no-sold the chair shot, too. But that's all right. All right, Dose. What did you think? And then we got one more segment to talk about.
All right. I don't really want to repeat a lot of what other folks have said here, but I will say that having some good spots in a match doesn't make it a good match. And this is sort of how I felt about the Brody Lee Cody match a week or 2 weeks ago. I felt sort of the same way this one, except it didn't have the blood and the strap, and I don't know. It just felt sort of hollow. It felt clunky, a little bit disjointed. And I feel like some of that is Lance Archer. And I sort of feel like Lance Archer is sort of like Ember Moon. And I know this is going to sound a little bit weird, but Ember Moon came out to NXT with sort of a big expectation and a flash, and she fizzled really quickly. And that fizzling seems to be continuing. It's just that it took 2 weeks. For Lance Archer, it took 2 months, but he came in with a bang, and he just really hasn't felt the same since. He's sort of been floundering. He disappeared for a while. Jake was doing those awesome promos, but after 3 or 4 of them, either they all start to sound the same or they're just not as good anymore. His age is really showing. He moves badly. I mean, it looks like he'd be a liability in there. Lance is a tall guy, but he's not that big a guy. So, I mean, he's not that menacing. He's not like Braun Strowman or even Lars Sullivan out there. He's, and he doesn't have a scary face. And whatever he's doing with his hair, I mean, the magenta certainly wasn't scary. The blonde isn't scary. His tattoos are weird. It's almost like he's got a tramp stamp across his. I don't know. Just
he had the tramp stamp, then he covered it up.
He doesn't work for me. He doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. I didn't think this match was particularly good, and the ending seemed contrived. Kingston on the mic was on commentary was good. I mean, he makes sense. He tries to tie things together. He tries. He thinks about what he's saying, and he tries to sell it. I don't know why the Butcher and the Blade weren't there also. I mean, I guess their segment was over, and you only get one segment. That didn't really make sense to me. They're there. Why aren't all four of them there? I didn't understand why Archer got to kick him, and then I don't understand why when he said help him, that Phoenix and Pentagon were helping Moxley. I mean, they tied it all together because it was sort of like the sucker punch and tit for tat. But I'm like the villain. I don't want to see Kingston fight Moxley again, and it's going to be probably on the pay-per-view unless this tournament is over by then and we have another contender. Everyone knows what I think about Kingston in the ring. Outside of the ring, love him. Inside the ring, it does nothing for me whatsoever. I'm talking longer than I intended to on this. I'm done. Adios.
Well, to answer your question, no, the tournament will not be over because the finals are at Full Gear. And that will segue into our last little topic real quick. They announced the last two competitors.
Yo, can I just quickly?
Oh, I thought you did. I apologize. Yes, here. Sorry.
Look, everyone said exactly what I was going to say. The match, it definitely dragged in moments. It was clear that this match, it was nothing. I mean, as much as Archer deserves the big push that he does deserve, this match was clearly just nothing but more of a setup for another fight between Kingston and Moxley. Because as you can tell, Kingston joined on commentary. Shivani, Excalibur, they were most likely trying to talk. They're playing up his relationship with Moxley. So whenever Mox used a veteran-like move, like fighting outside of the ring in order to equalize Archer or being able to counteract every time Archer would try to go for a power move, they always referred back to Eddie Kingston because of their relationship in the past. So it completely made a lot of sense to me when the match was over. He sends Penta and Phoenix to make sure Moxley's not hurt because Kingston has said on double occasions, first, he was never eliminated from the tournament, from the Railroad, which got him that shot. And then he said he never gave up. The ref called the match. So Kingston has had on more than one occasion of dusty finishes to where it's never clean. So the fact that we're going to get these two at Full Gear, most likely it makes sense because then if Mox does beat Kingston straight out, no excuses, means that Kingston can't challenge for that again. So then he's going to have to put his focus on his boys, Butcher, Blade, and Penta and Phoenix. And I predicted this a long time ago. I predicted this months ago at All Out. We're going to get Kenny versus Moxley.
Well, let's segue into that next topic then. They revealed the last two competitors, Colt Cabana and Joey Janela. So we've got Penta L0M. Some of these matches just don't fucking make sense to me. Penta L0M taking on Ray Phoenix. I don't want to fucking see that first round.
It could have been a second round match, honestly. Not those two though, but they could have been different brackets.
Then we have Kenny, and he's gonna knock the shit out of Joey Janela. Joey's gonna job to him. Wardlow and Jungle Boy are gonna go at it, and then Colt Cabana and Hangman Page. This is just gonna lead to a Kenny versus Hangman at Full Gear.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna take. If I'm gonna fill this bracket real quick, I'm gonna take Ray to beat Penta, Kenny to beat Joey, probably Wardlow to beat Jungle Boy. No. Yeah, and then Hangman to beat Colt, Hangman and Kenny at the finals. JB3, why don't you fill this bracket out for us real quick?
The same way you did, except instead of Ray Phoenix winning, I got Pentagon. Pentagon and Kenny Omega wrestled it all in, and it was really good. I think they could kill it, so I want to see that in the semifinals. Same thing you said for all the other matches.
Yeah, and you can see that entire show on YouTube, which is fantastic. Dose, you want to fill out that bracket real quick?
No, I do not. What I want to say is the same thing I said about the tag team tournament. If these guys are not ranked, and I know they're not, 2 through whatever it is, 9, this is stupid. And I know that they're not the ones who are ranked 2 through 9. So I'm taking out number 1 because that was Lance Archer, I presume. But Joey Janela, I don't think he's ever won a singles match on Dynamite. He might have won some on Dark, and they've been losing a bunch of tag team matches, and I think the only wins he's had are on Dark as a tag team match lately. Jungle Boy has no business being in there. Wardlow, I think, has had 2 matches where I think he's 1-1. Colt Cabana, I mean, come on. I'm actually interested in seeing Pentagon versus Phoenix because I think it's going to be great, and they have teased some dissension between the brothers in the past. If you want me to fill out the bracket, I'm gonna say that it's too obvious that it's Hangman Page and Omega in the finals, and I think they're going to want to drag that story out and tease it. Something's going to happen, so I'm going to go with a swerve on it, and I think it's going to end up being Hangman versus Pentagon.
Ooh, that'd be a good match. Paynemaker, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, there are some matchups I would definitely change around here in order so they would make more sense. To me, I think, yeah, Ray and Penta shouldn't be fighting each other, like at least in this tournament. I mean, of course, the fact that they're fighting in a tournament gives us an excuse to where those two nearly wanted to beat the hell out of each other before Kingston had settled the squash between them. But it would have made sense. Let's say we had Penta versus Wardlow, and then we just switch Ray and Wardlow from the brackets. That way, we'd have Ray versus Jungle Boy because those two men are very agile, and we could have seen something incredible out of both of those two. But yeah, this is clear. The moment I saw this bracket, it's shouted out. We're getting Hangman and Page. I mean, we're getting Hangman and Omega at full gear, like the story had been telling us. I just wish that I don't know. Most of these matches are very lopsided, heavy towards one wrestler, other than Ray and Penta, because that can go either way.
You know, it's funny you said that. I would switch Ray and Wardlow and Joey and Colt Cabana, and I would think that would make a better bracket. But you know, I don't book shit here. Villain, what'd you think?
Yeah, this is a trash bracket. You know, start with the first match we're going to see. Like, it sucks that we didn't get no promos from these guys, you know, talking about the tournament because I guess this is going to start next week. So we're going to go right into matches without having the guys cutting promos about it, you know, saying that they, you know, this is what they dreamed about. This is what they wrestled for, what they live for, is to get a chance at the AEW title. We didn't get none of that shit. So, yeah, we got the only match I think is going to be great is going to be the Pentagon versus his brother Phoenix, which I think they should go back to the well, man, and go back to some old wrestling history, and they should just do a finger point of doom in this spot. I think they should be ready to gear up and ready to fight in the ring once the once the bell rings. I think Ray Phoenix should just poke his brother in the chest. His brother lays down. He gives the 1, 2, 3. His brother gives him a blessing to move on because, like, that match shouldn't happen for no reason, you know. And it's not this. Yeah, this is for a title shot, but no, it's not really for a title shot, especially in the first round. I think 2 spots should have been vacant right now, and it had like question marks on them. And I think that's when Pac should have came back. I don't know what Tony Khan's doing. He's bullshitting. He should have flew a private jet to wherever Pac is and then after the private jet, jumped on a helicopter, went to Pac's home, and said, "Come on, brother, put this mask on. Let's get you back in the States, and let's get you back to being one of the top 5 wrestlers of the year, which Pac could be if they unleashed him." And WWE didn't do that. So I'm very disappointed that we don't have Pac in this tournament. And to be honest, I'd rather see another surprise guest in this bitch. And that's my other thing, and that would be my boy Mil Muertes, from Mexico. If anybody's gonna beat John Moxley, because this is the last segment, everybody else has been fantasy booking, so I'm a fucking fantasy book. Like, I would give the last spot to Mil Muertes, man. I'll pay him whatever the fuck I need to pay him to get him out of wherever he's at in Mexico, and I'll bring him and homegirl from Lucha Underground. I'll have them come through, and I'll have him the one to beat Moxley, because there's nobody on the roster that I really give a shit about to beat Moxley. Kenny Omega, like I said, they need to put him in a dress. I don't even think that him and Hangman are gonna be in the last match. Wardlow's in the tournament. I think Wardlow hasn't got his due yet, and that's the good thing about AEW is you got a guy like Wardlow that everybody has their eyes on. Like, yo, this guy looks good. I want to see more of him, and we haven't seen more of him. But everybody's salivating on the mouth because I want to see more of Wardlow. Why the fuck ain't Brian Cage in this tournament? He's a big fucking dude. He's got a title, and he doesn't even wrestle on fucking Dynamite that much. So this tournament is just stupid as shit. It don't make no goddamn sense, and it's gonna lead to disappointment for me, to be honest. Like, out of all the people in that tournament, it's gonna lead to disappointment because there's nothing I really want to see in those matches. So maybe one of those guys lose, and then they cause the other guy to lose. When I'm talking about Kenny and Hangman, one of them might lose early in the tournament, and that's when the other guy is jealous because they were partners before. Then he comes in and causes the guy the match. So then they'll feud, they'll go on a feud from there, and whoever wins this, unless it's going to be Wardlow or Pentagon, I don't know who's going to face Moxley, and Moxley needs to let go of that title pretty soon because he's doing nothing with it. So yeah, this tournament reveals a big fucking letdown. This and the tag team tournament reveals a big fucking letdown for company that should know what they're doing. They studied wrestling. All the people they got there as executive producers, executives, CEOs and shit, they have thousands and millions of fucking data between all of them to get this shit right. And this is dropping the ball in both of these scenarios. Villain out.
Damn. All right. And on that mic drop, ladies and gentlemen, this was another Suplex City chat. Most people that watch this show know where to find us. You can find Mr. Evil Dose on his Garden of Doom podcast. The Paynemaker, he's got a new YouTube channel where they look up the lives of or the careers of Schmodown pros. Paynemaker, what's it called again?
It's called Mount Schmodown, and this week we're taking a look at the actor Sam Witwer. You guys may know who voiced Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, and we're going to look at his Star Wars career.
All right. Then the villain, you can find him at Jack of All Trivia on Facebook and YouTube. Definitely give them a like, comment, subscribe. And Mr. JB3, you can find over at Combat Wrestling Trivia on the Nerd Entertainment Network. Everybody, this was Suplex City Chats. We out this bitch.